Richard's on what? Oh, okay. I asked for talkback for them so they could hear the show and me. Can they?
Days gone, I won't waste another one. Oh, darkness, it won't set me back again. Oh, my sleeper awake. I won't let the future escape. Oh, my sleeper awake. I won't let the future escape.
Well, hello and welcome to Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark, where when you usually think of this city, colourful buildings, culinary delights and bicycles possibly spring to mind. Not this week, because for the next 4 days, this city is home to the biggest FIFA event on the planet, the FIFAe World Cup 2022, and it's all happening right in here, the Bella Arena in Copenhagen, and we're ready and raring to go for our second session of day one here of the FEWC. Doesn't the studio look awesome? I can say that because I'm in here, and I'm very excited to get started on our second session of the day. Obviously earlier, hello, welcome, my name is Rachel Stringer. Earlier, We had groups A and C, and now we get to do it all again with groups B and D. Another 8 players in each group, 16 in total, will play in those awesome pods behind us in the group stages of the competition. They get to do that today and tomorrow. Well, you can see someone over my shoulder as well, because I'm not alone. Spencer Owen is back again, raring and ready to go for our second session. Spencer, this morning was pretty exciting, wasn't it?
It was very exciting, Rachel, and if we can match that intensity for the second half, we'll be very happy indeed. We're about to kick things off then. So, of course, we have the coveted FIFAe World Cup trophy right here. We need some players to battle it out for this afternoon session, so we're going to meet players from Group B. First of all, here they come, our 8 players from Group B. This is a group that the guys are telling us is wide open. Of course, though, this man you're seeing front and centre, Tex, is going to steal some headlines, we're sure. But we've got a really packed group here as the applause starts. Some top players. Looking forward to seeing what happens. 2 Belgians in there. And before we speak to some people from Group B, let's meet who they're going to be going up against in the next round if they get through. Our players from Group D. Here we go. Leading the way, the man from North America, Didi Crislito. It's another stacked group. This is a group with 3 players who have qualified for all 3 of the events we're doing here back-to-back in Copenhagen, the FIFAe World Cup, the Club World Cup, and E-Nations. Okay, so moving back over to Group B, I'm going to ask my first question to the man at the end of the line, who goes by the name of Tex. Tex, sorry, I must jump in front of you here, sir. So amazingly, it's only your second appearance at a FIFAe World Cup. How important is this one for you to improve on the last showing?
Yeah, I just want to improve on the last one. I didn't play good at the last one, and I feel like I owe it to myself to do better at this one. So see what happens in it.
It's been a while, obviously, since that last one. Obviously, we've had a bit of a break in terms of these events. What's changed with you as a player?
I used to care what people say in it, but now I just don't care at all. So like, it's me. I don't look at the outside world. I just look at myself and focus on myself. And I think if I play well, I'm better than everyone here. So if I play well, hopefully, I'll lift the trophy at the end.
We shall see. That is Tex, a very laid-back, confident Tex there. I'm going to go up a level here, and I'm going to speak to a Spaniard who goes by the name of JRA. How are you, sir? Are you feeling confident?
So confident. It's so good to be here in the World Cup. Let's enjoy every game. It's a unique opportunity for every of us, so let's enjoy.
Just looking on your Instagram post recently when you qualified for here, how happy you were to be here. Like, can you sum up for yourself, but also for every professional, like how important this event is and how great it is to qualify?
I think it's a dream for every child. I'm playing for more than 10 years, and to be here is a dream. So let's enjoy every game and let's try to win it.
Fantastic stuff. Best of luck to you. I'm going to let the Group B guys get in position. So if you'd like to do your mandatory fist bumps, and then you'll get in position. So good luck to you guys. Group B, wide open, we're being told. Who will top it? We won't even find that out today. We're just going to find out who's top after half the games. But as we move over to Group D here, one man I want to speak to is Dami, who's been in the scene for quite a while now. And you've been really, really consistent. Obviously had a great showing in EPL this year. How are you going to take that into the FIFAe World Cup?
I mean, this season was perfect for me so far. So I'm just trying to do my best to keep it going right. The last time I was actually grouped at the LAN event was 2018 FIFAe World Cup. So it was quite some time now, but still, that's the biggest stage and that's where I need to perform.
So you're saying this season perfect so far. What would be a perfect first day for you today? Have you got a points total from your 7 games?
Not really. I think every group will have their own story at this tournament. I think our will be really, really stacked, and there's not going to be any outsiders over here. So I'm really curious how it goes, but obviously the top 4 is a goal, and I'm hoping to do it today and have an easier day tomorrow.
Can he keep the perfect season going? We're going to find out. That's Dami here. And at the end of the line, I'm going to speak to none other than Dull Mike. I said earlier about 7 players here who have qualified for the triple. There is a chance someone could have come away with a triple header of wins here. Is that going to be you?
Hopefully. I mean, I'm looking pretty confident for all those 3 tournaments, and I'm definitely capable of completing it, so why not?
You're another player that burst onto the scene very young. We spoke to Tex earlier. What have you done to your game in the last few years as you've grown into the scene? Have you changed anything?
I wouldn't not necessarily say that I changed anything at my game, but more mentally. So I'm just full focused at any point in the game, and I think that's the main thing I changed.
Okay, That is Dylan Mike, everybody. Definitely a name to look out for. Guys, if you'd like to do your fist bumps down the line and get in position, we're going to get FIFA started very soon indeed. Group D, a very competitive group. I know we've been doing a poll all day about which group is going to be the hardest to get out of. For me, I'm looking no further than Group D, guys, because you've got 3 players in there, as I've mentioned, that have qualified for all 3 events. You've got huge names in there. We didn't even talk about the likes of Matthias Bonanno, Manu Bashir. I mean, they're all top quality players, as we know. I can't wait to get things started. We're going again, second session of the day. Let's get things kicked off. And back to you guys for now.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Well, should we do this mandatory fist bump here to kickstart the second session of day 1? Back with Richard Buckley and Mike LaBelle, of course, to take you through everything here. I love hearing from the players with Spencer down there. You get a bit of an insight, don't you? Let's start with Tex there. I now don't care what people think of me. Bold words there from Tex.
It's kind of what I touched on earlier today as well, where I said I feel as if he's had additional pressure in the 2019 run just because he was winning everything. It was kind of how he burst onto the scene and so forth and so on.
Yeah, I mean, bold statement like we just mentioned. And for Dami, perfect season. Another bold statement from Group D.
Yeah, and I think Dami is going to be real confident coming into this tournament. I just caught him literally backstage 30 seconds before we came out, and he said, you know what? I feel good. LAN is where I play my best FIFA, and this is the moment to prove it.
Yeah, well, we saw some great performances, didn't we, earlier on in A and C groups. Can we get more of the same going forward this afternoon? I'm pretty sure we can. We have some great names on the line, like Spencer just said. Again, Group B and D are stacked. And I'm looking at the first matchup, which I'm excited for in Group D this is. You've got Diddy Chris Lito there. He's taking on Dylan Mike. I mean, what a first-round matchup for any FIFA fan out there, Mike LaBelle.
No doubt about it, and I've kind of been teasing this, but Diddy's kind of putting on for the culture. We saw Lamps in action earlier. He's a free agent, has a lot to play for. Just being here really rises or raises your stock, and if he's able to put on a performance, not only is he kind of carrying the region, but he also does a lot for his own personal, I guess, contract negotiation, shall we say, and he's already been a champion. He's proven it.
I think I can go one better.
I was about to go across there to Game 6 on our feed.
Oh,
Who's on there?
Let me just calm myself down a
Hang
second.
on, wait for it. You need a big close-up on Richard for this, because he'll start talking about his bromance. Love of his life if he has one.
Let me just compose myself. We're going to see Matthias Bonanno at the FIFAe World Cup in action for the first time ever. Matthias Bonanno up against Manu Bashir. Doesn't get much harder than this for a first game. I think in a one-legged game, I think he's going to not struggle as such, but typically over 2 legs, Matthias, that's where he proves his worth. I think in 1 leg, we might see a similar tale to what we saw with Nicholas earlier today. I don't think it's going to be plain sailing.
A little bit of, I'm not going to say negativity. I'm shocked that he's
by
saying,
that criticism, potentially.
I know. That's crazy that Richard Buckley says that. Guys at home, if you were watching this morning, remember, we're kind of here to chat everything FIFA, and then you can watch on loads of different streams. We've got so many people behind us streaming as well. We can obviously watch on FIFA.gg as well. But yeah, we basically get up like 9 streams. That's what we want. We want to see pictures of that as well. Maybe you can take a snap of you watching every matchup and us. Please come back and join us, because you win prizes if you come back and join us. I'm going to tease that, hold it there, let you watch some more and hear out what they are. Guys, we haven't really even spoken about the groups. Should we have a quick look at Group B in terms of who's in that and who's really going to be a standout name for you? I mean, Mike, you've got them in front of you as well. We did this earlier for Groups A and C, and again at home, if you are just watching, everybody said that Group C was the one that's going to be the most tricky to get through. Okay, we did see that, but they're all tricky. Spencer down there was saying Group D was especially tricky, and we've said that by the names we just mentioned. Diddy, Dylan Mike, Manu Bashir, and Matthias Bonanno. But let's go back to Group B, Mike.
And when you're looking at Group B here, obviously Tex jumps off the page, but outside of that, I do feel there's a lot of room for interchangeability, players maybe to make a real statement, while others, maybe they fall off a little bit. We've talked about it. This is really, when we're looking at our predictions, this is all over the place between us. For me, I'm looking at Stefano Pina. He's kind of been around from the beginning of the progression of FIFA esports. I mean, the online portion didn't perform the same way, and now he's back to, I would say, his second home. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm just going to name them all right there, because we haven't even named them yet. Tex, Benny CR7, Emre Yilmaz, I saw him out in the concourse as well, and he was like, yeah, I'm kind of feeling confident. Pinner, who Mike was just talking about, Gilles, his teammate for Genk and for Belgium, and then JRA, the second Spanish player we'll be seeing, Oberon 2002, and then Klenke.
Rich, get your thoughts on these.
Yeah, I think Tex is the favourite in that group, and I think it's a 7-horse race to see who else will go through as the top 4. The player that I'm going to tell you a little bit about, Oberon 2002, a fantastic talent from Italy, but more importantly, we talked about coaches earlier. The man who's behind him, Hollywood 285, a very popular streamer at the moment. I think he was the 3rd most watched streamer from a few months ago across the entirety of the streaming platform. He won Twitch Rivals not too long ago as well, alongside Captain Barbara Renner. He's a real student of the game. He also coaches the Italian national team. We're going to see him. He's probably got he's probably staying all 3 weeks. He's probably coaching now, then coaching in 3 weeks.
Coaching tools. He's doubling down.
And those guys are charismatic as well. They bring a bit of fun. They bring some energy. So expect in that little booth over there maybe some kind of fist bumping, some smiles, some good vibes in there. So that's kind of Group B. Spoken about that a little bit. Group D, we've already mentioned 4 big names in there. We'll bring you up to speed on those 4 and the rest who are joining them. So Didi Cristalito, we've mentioned him, great champion of the game, a champion as well in Madrid at the E-Champions League in 2019. Manu Bashir, another member of Team Hullet. Danny Pitbull, again, a player who's been around for quite some time now. Dami, Spencer spoke to him, E-Premier League champion this year from Poland, having the perfect, in his own words, season. Edson, 28, Web Nazari, the only player from Asia representing. Matthias Bonanno, I'm not going to look at Richard Buckley for that one. And then finally, finalising all our 32 players in the 16 we're going to see on offer here, Dullen Mike from Germany, still the youngest ever FUT Champions winner from FIFA 19. He's still, Mike Labelle cites that as his favourite moment so far in his career.
I mean, it's still an early career, for being fair. And when I look at the overview of everything in Group D, I don't even know where to start. You really shouldn't root out or almost not look at them as favorites when you talk about Team Hullet and what we've seen already with Levy and Ololito looking amazing. I'd love to talk about Diddy more, just because I think that it's such a resurfacing story and kind of came out of nowhere. I feel like he wasn't as active this year, and now here we are. And I wanted to discuss Dami, but then I saw Spencer gave him the interview, so I was like, I don't know where to go now. Like, that was my main storyline of him kind of making a resurgence, and he's never been a great online player, so I'm really looking forward to him being back at a LAN environment. Kind of leads all of Poland in a sense.
Well, I love that these players are making a resurgence, because it just shows as well how much they love FIFA, the community, everything that this game brings to their lives. Because, you know, if they kind of didn't have that passion, they'd have given up a couple of years back when they were struggling, Rich.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we said we were going to talk about 1 player each. Mike mentioned 3.
Maybe 4 or 5.
You're not really giving me an opportunity to talk about anybody else other than Matthias Bonanno, but I'm going to hold it for now. I'm going to hold it for now, and we're going to talk about Web Nazari, okay? The most points accumulated out of the entire global series was Web Nazari in Asia. I think he won 3 majors over there, 3 qualifiers from his region, and he's been here before, which is something that other players can't say they do. He's been at this stage, he's competed, and I do think, I wouldn't even say it's an upset, I think he's going to potentially go through this group. I really do think he will.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
I put that in my predictions, guys. Put my hand up there just so you guys at home know as well. My predictions, Web Nazari going through. Anyway, no one cares about that. But what you guys might care about is a Twitter poll that we have running for this session. It's on Twitch as well. So earlier on we had which group was the most difficult. And now we're saying which continent will the winner come from. So South America is A, and North America is B, Europe is C, and D is Asia. Well, you've got only 1 player from there. You've got Web Nazari, so that's going to be
Web Nazari or bust.
Bold statement. So, guys, you know how to vote. So it's using the hashtag FEWC, FIFAe, and then fame your game as well. This is going to be an interesting one. Okay, we're starting a debate here. In here as well, where's it coming from?
I like playing the percentages, and if I recall, 24 players are from Europe. So I'm saying that it's most likely going to come from Europe, but I'd be happy to shake and bake that up. I'd love to see one of the North American guys get it.
I mean, look.
With South America.
Young looked outstanding this morning. We've got Nicholas 99 FC. I know, get him an Argentine passport out because Matthias Bonanno.
Oh, he's relocated.
Proud Argentinian.
Hang on, Matthias lives in Spain, so he's going to Spain.
Oh, yeah. How's that work?
I mean, he's South American. He's South American. But if I was to predict it, if I was to vote on the Twitter poll, you've got to go Europe.
Going to go Europe. Well, we technically can say that Nicholas is a Londoner now and Matthias is a Spanish chap. So anyway,
they're taking them off the table?
If Danny wins, are we claiming it as an English one?
Anyway, okay, well, that's our predictions. We obviously want to hear yours, and we'll bring you up to speed as they move. They are live, of course, later on in the show. Well, it looks like we're getting into our round one of matches here. Remember, guys, if you are just joining now, what they have to do this evening. So Group B and D in action, and they have to play their group stages. So they play every single person in their group once, which means you'll see 7 matches in Group B and D being played. It'll take a fair few hours, 1 leg of FIFA, 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and 0 points for that loss. Earlier on, 16 points was the most accumulated.
Correct, yeah, Olelito.
Olelito 16. 14 from Group A was Levy there and Young, but 16 was the most, which we kind of said at the beginning of the day that would possibly see you go through. We're now pushing that to 20 points. Might see these players going through, clear favourites.
I feel good about 20. I know that we kind of discussed it. 19-20 seems like that would at least solidify a 4th place. There's not that many points available when you're starting to look into the draws, because that's taking points off the board, so.
Yeah, well, we'll get up to speed on that chat a little bit later. Well, we're now having a little look around our beautiful studio here at the Bella Arena. It's awesome. I can't explain enough. I probably can't use enough adjectives like I did earlier on to explain how beautiful this place is, but it is something special. And these pods, which the players get to play in for the next couple of days, are something else as well. Spencer earlier gave you a little tour around them. You can see Matthias Bonanno's there. They've got their team in there with them. They have this kind of coaching tool, which is state-of-the-art. We saw it in 2019 a little bit, but we're seeing it in its full glory now. Dull and Mike there, they're all locked in because those round 1 matches have started. That is the tunnel they walk out from, where their heartbeat raises from 60 to 160. I don't know. We need to get some heart rate monitors on these guys. And then we're just looking at, I mean, just the brilliant. I just love seeing the players locked in on their faces right now. I don't know if anyone else has got any updates on scores. Richard Buckley on the doors at the moment.
Yeah, we've just kicked off across the games, but you heard a huge roar over from that Team Hullet camp on the top row, because Emre Yilmaz scoring the first goal of the tournament, up 1-0 against JRA. Tex is in action as well. He's going to be taking on Klenke in his opening game. And I think it's intriguing to see what Tex is going to offer us in this first game. An early start is imperative.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of thinks himself, doesn't he? He thinks he's pretty positive. He thinks he's playing well. His coach has been saying he's playing well. And we just obviously kicked off here. Still 0-0 at the moment. 22 minutes played, but obviously early at the moment. But yeah, pretty good for a player like Tex, especially, as we know, Mike, what Tex is like in terms of his mentality. He likes to get off to a good start, doesn't he?
I think every competitor enjoys getting off to a good start, puts you in kind of a commanding role. But I will say this with Tex, and we've talked about it a little bit, he's kind of known for second legs.
Yep.
He's someone that adjusts really well to his opposition. Sometimes he needs that moment to kind of talk to the coach or take a second for himself and evaluate or have a self-reflection. And we're not going to have that opportunity here when you're playing through one legs or a single matchup. So it might actually work a little bit as a disadvantage for Tex in the group stages.
And Klenke, remember as well, he lives here in Copenhagen. Advantage, not pressure, more so, I'm not quite sure there, but he qualified last year, didn't get to go like many of these players, so he's really trying to make up for lost time with not being able to play the biggest stage of his career right now on home soil.
Yeah, it was outstanding last year, was Klenke. A little reverse loss to go inside the box from Tex. Doesn't fall his way in the end, but he's qualified again. I think that shows a lot of character. To qualify last year, to have it taken away from you, the tournament not taking place, and then come again this year to push on, to qualify again, and now you're playing in your hometown. There's really sort of an opportunity to flourish.
Yeah, exactly. Well, another player who's been flourishing, I'm going to stick with this English theme because Premier League winner this year. We know who we're talking about. Dame, of course. It was 2v2, but individually played, wasn't it? So they kind of had to switch in and out of the game mode there. So they kind of like gave their partner a lead, or they played second. So it was a little bit different in terms of tactics. Would you call it 2v2 or 1v1 Premier League in terms of what Dame flourished in with his perfect season this year?
I still think you have to add in that there's another component into it, so it's still sort of a 2v2 to some regard, more than it is just a 1v1. But also with Dam, he kind of changed the way that people played FIFA 22, which you got to give so much credit that he was able to innovate and bring that to the competitive level, because it does take a lot of risk to bring something new that other people aren't using. It's not proven, but boy, did it work for him.
And obviously played for Norwich City as well there, which, you know, to have Norwich City as Premier League champions, we're not possibly going to see that for a long time in the Premier League. So for Dammy to do it like that was incredible. And he was the first player to be signed for Norwich City at the time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think as well, obviously, Dammy was always playing first in those games, so he was able to put Norwich to a really good position out the gates in a number of those matches. He was arguably the MVP of that team. No disrespect to goal poacher, who we did see at the playoffs as well, but the resurgence and the real sort of quality that Dammy showed. He won the Premier League, but it wasn't a blip in the pan. He then went on, he finished second in the qualifier behind Cosmin, and really just showed what an excellent player he is. As soon as we get back to lands, and now lands are sort of the norm again, I think Dammy is going to be top 8, top 16 talent in the world again.
Well, he spoke, didn't he, about his getting grouped in 2019 here. He didn't seem like it affected him in the chat, Mike, but does that... Ooh. Stop talking, Rach. Good time there. One apiece. Now, does that, though, have a lingering effect? He mentioned it. He brought it up. Spencer didn't bring that up.
If you know Dammy, I would say no. I don't think that he's living in the past in that regard. He's somebody that, again, I would never want to play against, especially in a LAN setting. Just feel like he's a really difficult out. He'll do the most. He's very gifted with tactics across the board, which is, of course, very helpful in an environment like this.
You can continue watching all those matches. Remember, on FIFA.gg, we're streaming them all live. So do jump there and then back to us as well for some more, kind of well-rounded analysis. There you go. You can see exactly where to go and watch all the matches there. Yeah, Dammy, I mean, he's an interesting character, isn't he? We've seen him around for so long. Do you think he's ever really reached the heights that he's capable of, Mike?
I don't think he's maxed his potential, no. And I think that and it's not even my opinion here, he's really the leader of Poland in that FIFA nation. So I think he knows that he carries that with him everywhere, that he has to put on to make sure to remind people that Poland has a lot of the top players.
What was he always lacking, Rich, in your opinion?
Maybe a little bit of luck. I think.
Yeah?
I don't know that he's had a year that suited him yet, in terms of all the way with the gameplay. Yeah.
He's found the formation. He's beating people comfortably, you would say, and I think if he can get through the groups and push onto the two-legged format, I think he accelerates his opportunity to win drastically. I think a lot of these pros are going to find these groups really hard, and that's why we've seen a lot of people sort of floundering 7, 8, 9 points. There's only been a couple of players who have pushed on, and one of those players also, we talked about at the top of the show, Richard Buckley mentioned him, Oberyn, he's 3-0 up. Against
Richard, did you
CR7.
mention? Well done on
Richard Buckley?
Just let you know, I've got the iPad and I mentioned him.
Who is he against?
Benny CR7.
Benny CR7. Okay, we know a lot about Benny CR7 as well. We can jump over there and see how that's going on. 3-0 lead, though, as Oberyn there. Benny CR7, interesting, because you see a couple of these players taking on multiple roles throughout the season, Mike, and he's been a coach and a player, and now he's a player again, and does that help the game, or does that hinder the game?
I don't think it hinders the game, and it makes sense. If you are investing your life or your livelihood into competing, why wouldn't you be a fantastic coach? In fact, a lot of the best coaches were ex-players.
Yeah, well, we've spoken about that, haven't we, already? And Mike, would you ever go into coaching? I know you've got a great job right now and you're great at it, but obviously as a player.
No.
YouTuber / FIFA analyst is what I like to call Mike. But in terms of, you have so much to offer the game.
And I try to do that in the best way possible for the masses. Because when you're working with somebody on an individual level, you're going to not only have to spend all that time there, but it would also change your role when you're going into events. I think I would feel a lot more stressed now working 1v1, or maybe if you work with a few players, every result they have or lack thereof, you feel a piece of that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a team setup, a team working environment. And we said that taking out for dinner, and it's that bond they've got to create. Olito said that about his coach, and his coach was just saying, you know, we have a great relationship, and that's why it works so well. It's
interesting you said a lot of the best coaches are former players. I think the former players, but very rarely do the best coaches the best former players. It's sort of, no disrespect to any other coaches, average to good players who have just got a real keen eye for the game.
At a competitive level.
At a competitive level, making events,
at this level,
not
not just average FIFA players.
Like, I'm not seeing MS Tisari coming in coaching, or I don't think Tex would come and coach if he didn't qualify for an event. Very rarely do you see that.
You see that in real football as well, though. It's the same kind of thing.
Absolutely.
You see. You know, you see maybe some top-level players coming out at the end of their career and trying it a bit, but not maybe reaching the upper echelons like some of these top managers do.
Well, part of that's you've invested all your time being the best player you could be. You haven't been investing the same way in coaching, where it's like somebody could have been working 5-6 years already into making sure other people are developing or they're getting better, or even on a 1v1 level where our main focus is to achieve this versus your main focus being to push on to a tournament.
You'd also be so frustrated. If you're sat behind someone and you know that you could do that, like, why didn't you just score? Just play better. Like, I don't know. I think the current level of coaching at the moment is very good in FIFA esports, and it's improved drastically, even in sort of the last 3 years, from the last World Cup to now. I think the coaching's gone through the roof, and I think it will continue to improve.
I guess the only anomaly to what we've just been discussing there, Levinken, he's now kind of transitioning to be a coach. Top player, only a couple of years ago, Champions League, he was around the scene, and he's now moved on.
But you could also argue that he's not a top player now. So for the last couple of years, he's transitioned into a coaching role completely, as opposed to trying to qualify for events. Just as a counter argument, just throwing it out there.
I was just trying to make an argument for the other side. You know, I was trying to get a little debate going here. Anyway, that was squished. Let's go to some gameplay. Richard Buckley, what matches are taking your attention there?
We've got an all-club tie between Pina and Jill. Yeah, all Gilk tie. All Gilk tie.
We've rebranded this club.
Genk tie with Jill in this matchup between Pina. Mike, what's happening? Tell the people what's happening.
Let me help you. Okay, so two players from the same club playing against each other in the same group in the opening matchup.
And it's 1-0.
And it's called Genk, by the way, if you didn't quite get what Richard Buckley was trying to say. This is Jill, of course, in your shot at this moment. He's up against, a teammate in the form of Stefano Pina, and we spoke about him a little bit earlier on in our first session as, again, a player that's having a resurgence. You know, he was a runner-up here to MS Tisari back in 2018, so he knows how to get all the way at the FEWC. And is that key, Mike, here? Can he kind of build on that experience?
Having that level of experience and then big stage experience, not just going to a LAN event, but the biggest of stages and being able to perform, having success, it does, like, kind of sit with you. It stays with you. You're not going to lose that necessarily. And I will say, in this matchup in particular, if I was going to have to play my teammate, I would prefer to do it first. It's kind of like a more so a bragging rights warm-up, because, of course, there's the point system, but you're going to get loose in this game. Y'all should be able to build together. You've played against them hundreds, if not 1,000 times this year. It's not going to be anything brand new, and then you move on to the next game.
Yeah, we hear, I guess, a lot of sports people talking like that when they get to the latter stages of World Cups or majors of whatever sport they're talking about. If they're going up against an opponent who hasn't got there, they go, well, I've got the advantage already because I've been there, done that, got the experience from it, and can take that and use it. So the players that are here for the first time, 24 of them, possibly will be lacking in that when they come up against the players like Pina, who's gone all the way and just kind of faltered at that last hurdle.
Potentially so, but I also think there's going to be some of those players, Levi de Weed, I'm going to mention all three of the Team Hullet players, Levi de Weed, Manu Bashar and Emre Yilmaz, people who not necessarily don't care, but it's just another tournament. Even though it's the biggest tournament of their entire season and probably their life, in their mind it's just another tournament. You just switch into competitive mode. And that's how they've been trained. That's how they've been sort of moulded into playing. So I think there is an element also of, we can just play it as any other tournament and we can do the business. I've just seen a full time in the top right corner. You mentioned Tex at the top of the show. He's drawn 0-0 against Klenke in his opening game.
Yeah, pretty, not an upset, but we'd expected it to go one way and possibly in Tex's favour on that one. Well, we'll stop talking for the time being and head down to the floor because it's starting to get exciting down there and Spencer's there for us.
Okay, right, I've got Klenke here, who's just managed to get a draw with Tex. Now, a lot of the conversation going into your group is dominated by Tex. How does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player, so I understand that, of course. Yeah, of course.
Describe how that game went. Obviously, we know the score was 0-0. Who was on top?
I think I had a good chance. Yeah, but maybe it's FIFA. I don't know. But yeah.
You know you've got to play him a second time, obviously, tomorrow. Anything you'd change about that game? Or would you? I mean, I'm looking at the stats here. Pretty even on possession. Expected goals, 0.5 to 0.6. It looks like 0-0 was a fair result.
Yeah, it was. Maybe I think I should have a goal. But yeah, it was a tough game and a close game too. So yeah, we'll see tomorrow.
And you're representing Brøndby, of course, a team that is synonymous with FIFA esports. You know, one of the most successful teams, certainly in the original Club World Cup era. How does that feel representing them on a stage like this?
It feels like it's a great feeling. I dreamed about this for playing, and yeah, of course, in Brøndby. I've qualified last year, so now I'm here. So it just feels very great.
Very much home soil as a Danish club, of course. Final question: what are your aims for this tournament?
Of course, to win it all. I think I have the abilities to win it all. So yeah, hopefully it's going to be like that.
Well, listen, he's just drawn with one of the pre-tournament favourites, Tex, so don't sleep on Klenka. He could be here, he could be going the distance. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks. Well, it's great to hear an insight from these players after every matchup as well. Sven is so great at getting little intricacies out of them. But yeah, he was saying that Brøndby there, a great club to be representing at this high level, Mike.
I think you made him Italian. The little intricacies.
Little intricacies, you know. Got to spice it up a bit. Here we go.
And we shouldn't sleep on Klenka at all. It's somebody that I put to get out of this group, actually. And I really rate him. And I think that he's kind of gone under the radar. Of course, as Spencer was saying, home soil may be an advantage. At some point here, you get some bodies, some yelling, some screaming. A little bit of that energy in the room. We've seen that happen, and it'd be something that works in your advantage in playoffs, for example, in London. But I think that's an okay result for both players. I don't think either of them are upset about it. 0-0, there weren't a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, do you think anyone will be upset about that? Obviously, Klenka wasn't. He thought it was a reasonable result. But
yeah, we obviously we didn't get to see the entirety of the game, so there might have been some huge chances that were squandered. No, I don't think so. We just saw a couple of full-time results there coming in. Pina winning 1-0 against his teammate Jill from Genk in that particular game. Looking at the rest of the games, I mean, there's not too much happening. Oberon now 4-1 up against Benny CR7, so that's been an electric start from Oberon in that matchup. A number of the other games, Emre Yilmaz winning 2-1 against JRA, and I think Group D is just winding down to a close. I can tell you Matthias Bonanno drew 0-0 against Manu Bashar. Probably an expected result. Two of the favourites in that group, you would say, in Group D, sharing points.
Yeah, we can give you every single result when all those matches have been completed. Well, I told you, didn't I, at the beginning of the show, there's a chance for you guys to get your hands on some goodies. Richard Buckley's going to bring in a World Cup football. Thank you very much. It's lovely. I don't know which way up it goes, but this will be used in Qatar later on in the year, and you can get your hands, Michael, I'm throwing it to you. On that, all you have to do is get yourself 1,000 points by watching the stream on the FIFA channel, by the way, not on EA Sports, on the FIFA channel. You have to watch to collect those 1,000 points to be in with a chance at winning this. There you go. So channel points, of course, is what you are after. That's where you can watch this stream, your chance to win this, and plenty more prizes as well will be coming your way. So FIFA.gg/streams. Use the hashtag Fame Your Game. Richard Buckley, balls over. That means you have to say something quick. Hot potato.
I love FIFA.
I mean, we all love FIFA. That's why we're here. Let's get in then to what has been happening then as we've been talking about that. So full time now on a lot of these matchups, which is it's great to come to the conclusion of this first round because we get then an understanding of the level these guys are playing at here. So what's been happening at the moment then on the scene in FIFA? Remember, guys, these guys qualified via the playoffs, which happened in London only about 10 days ago. And that means they're kind of been gaining a momentum from then. If they've been playing well, which they did to get here, we whittled that down from 128 to 32. And the players from this morning's session who really went well, Mike, have been putting in the hours between then and now.
No doubt, and a lot of these competitors were here early to watch those games, to see kind of how things unfolded. And I would say one of our first upsets, potentially, at least by name here, we have Edson, who beat Dami. And I know we both built up Dami and how difficult he'd be to beat in a land setting. Well, he's been beat in the opening matchup, and it started with that Cristiano Ronaldo finesse shot from long distance. It was on screen here, and it kind of allowed him to track back. And we should just never doubt anyone from South America, ever.
No, you can't.
Every tournament, like they're always there making runs.
I also think we always seem to find South American players, particularly Brazilian players, who we don't know a lot about. They come into the tournament, maybe their first ever major, and they make a top 4. They make a top 8. When you look through the FIFA annals, Brazil has always been a real prominent nation, not only on the real pitch, but also in FIFA when it comes to big global tournaments. And it's a really, really big result that for Edson, beating Dami 3-2.
Yeah, and I feel like Richard Buckley should have this link because we're going to a player from Genk, and it's Stefano Pinner. He's with Spence.
Yes, I am here with a man who's no stranger to the FIFAe World Cup. He's just picked up an opening win against his teammate, who's also his compatriot. It was both Belgians, of course. I've just looked at the stats, 71% possession. So only a 1-0 on the score, but you dominated the game?
Yes, I think I know Gilles. Yeah, of course, he's my teammate. So I know he likes to attack, and he don't like when the opponent's holding the ball a lot. So I was just doing that and creating my chances. And yes, it was just a balanced game, I think. I did my thing, 1-0, and I won, so that's the most important thing.
How do you feel about the format this year, with the fact that you play the single leg and you play another game, away leg if you like, tomorrow? It's not back-to-back like we've seen more recently. So if you're going to keep possession like that in a game, that's going to suit you quite well, right?
Yeah, you need to play a little bit different because it's a best of one. Everything can happen, and you don't want to let the opponents score the first goal. So I need to create my chances holding the ball a little bit. So yeah, it's very different. I like it, but I need to change my play style because of it's a best of one.
Obviously, we've seen you have a fantastic run in previous FIFAe World Cups. Do you feel like you've got unfinished business with this tournament?
Yeah, of course, I want to win the whole tournament, not only the PlayStation side. But like, I don't know, this year a lot of great players again, and you see like Levy, Umut, these are the players that's so consistent in this game, and it's very hard to win, of course, but I will do everything, and hopefully I can survive the group stage, and we will see after that.
Well done on your first win, best of luck. A lot's changed since last time we saw Stefano Pinner, but one thing hasn't changed. He's still winning at FIFAe World Cups. Let's see if he can keep it going. Back to you guys.
Yeah, great to hear from Stefano Pinner there. Looking pretty chilled out. He always has the same kind of persona around him, mannerisms, doesn't he?
Matching.
Matching.
Yeah.
You haven't got the hood up, don't put it up. That wasn't a indication of you doing that. Yeah, let's have a quick look at Group B then and what happened in terms of their matches. We had a little look, didn't we, at Group D, but then this is what Group B, not fully updated after that. But Richard, I think you can go through a couple of the scores, how they finished on that one.
I certainly can, yes. Texan Klenke drew 0-0. Benny CR7 won, Oberon 4. That puts Oberon top of the pile, 3 points from his opening match. Emre Yilmaz beat JRA 2-1. That puts him joint second. And Stefano Pinner, we just heard from there, beating his teammate in Gilles 1-0. Not too much to talk about at the moment in Group B, but I mean, we're just looking at the monitor setup in front of us. I see the players already down in their positions to play, so I think Group B round 2 is going to be getting underway very, very shortly indeed.
Yeah, I guess the only anomaly there was only one draw in that, opposed to earlier matches in Group A and C. We saw many more close matches, many more draws. Let's have a check-in then on Group D and see how that looks after round 1. So not all the scores are in, but Rich has all the updated results for us.
I certainly do. Diddy Chris Lito 1, Dylan Mike 1. That ended after 90 minutes. Manu Bashaw 0, Matthias Bonanno 0. Danny Pitbull beat Webb Nasri 2-1, and Edson beat Dami 3-2. So the only thing that you're not seeing there, Dami would be in the bottom half, probably 7th or 8th on goal difference, and Edson will be joint top on 3 points. Mike, anything really to shout about after round 1?
I think it's still too early. I mean, if we want to talk more about the Dami matchup, just because we kind of built him up, we can. But the first game, a lot of people are also getting rid of those jitters. This is the first game on stage that actually counts.
I guess my take home from that is that the players he bigged up, Matthias there, Manu Bashaw and then Tex all 0-0. So, okay, not getting a goal in, but also not conceding. So, positive and negatives there.
For sure, and at the end of the day, and I don't want to be a walking cliche, but defense wins championships, and you're going to always be in a position to compete if you're not giving up goals. I know those were 0-0, they weren't scoring goals either, but at the end of the day, we've seen that time and time again, and the best consistent players, typically it's not about their offensive expression that we're bragging about. Even someone like Tex, it's still what he does on the defensive end.
Well, you're not a walking cliche, he's a sitting cliche at this moment in time, because he hasn't gone anywhere yet, guys. Yeah, Rich, nothing really to report after round one.
Yeah, defense wins championships and goals win games, to be honest. I think when you look, I'm just going to look forward towards the second round of fixtures. Klinke up against JRA. I think that's going to be a really good game. You got Jill against Benny CR7 and Oberon, who had the biggest win of that first round, taking on Tex. That's a real sort of litmus test for Oberon. How good is he? Can he compete with sort of the favourites for the tournament? If he can go and beat Tex by a couple of goals, Oberon's on the tip of the tongue, potentially as a tip of the tournament.
Yeah, well, Edson as well. It'll be great to see how the South American gets on in this second round matchup as well. I think he's taking on Manu Bashore possibly in that matchup as well. So, yeah, I can just... Oh, Emre Yilmaz, sorry.
It's versus Pino. I'm dialed in these. I like this. The Oberon versus Tex, I think that could be an early upset, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
I liked what I saw from Oberon. Tex was a lot less decisive, shall we say, especially going forward. That was not an offensive affair between him and Klinke.
Right time to play, Tex.
Yeah, early on in the matchup when no one's really found their feet yet in this competition. It's very early to say, but you can see there, oh, well, we can see, sorry, you can't see this. Matthias Bananas just checking in with his team and his pod. They're looking at that coaching tool we spoke about. So they've got a little iPad in each of the pods, which they can have a little look back and see what they did right and wrong in the previous matchup, or even at half-time in the game, which is just crucial.
How do I get one of these at home? I'd like to know who I need to talk to back end on production. I want to take one of these.
No, you can't. I just got told you can't take one home.
Oh.
I'm joking, I didn't. Let's have a look then at Tex and see how he's looking ahead of this second round matchup. It's always good to have a look at what they're looking like here, just setting up, because you can see they look nervous or not. Tex on your right and Oberon then on your left. Not much to report at the moment in terms of how you feel they look.
Yeah, you can see behind Tex, you've got Diogo, who's going to be playing with next week, and then also Venny, professional FIFA player in his own right. He's competed at many a tournament, and I can't really remember Venny being behind Tex before this tournament. He wasn't with him at the Champions League, so it looks like a newer addition to that coaching trio with him. So I think Oberon, obviously from left to right in that red strip, if he can get to a quick start, put Tex under pressure, Mike, I don't want to say he can get at Tex, but in one leg it's much easier to get at him than it is two.
And I will say this about Tex, I do feel that he battles back well. Sometimes an opening goal, not only can it change the tempo of the game, but it also sometimes hits your motivation, that adrenaline kicks in a little bit.
We saw the 0-0 at the playoffs against JRA. Was that the match to qualify, if I remember correctly? Tex versus JRA. They played 0-0 for at least a leg and a half. I was watching from home, so in this particular context, that's a point apiece, and you're on to the next game. You don't have time to really try and manipulate the game to your will.
Yeah, and Spencer mentioned it, didn't he, when you were speaking to the guys earlier? He said they are technically playing 2 legs, but over 2 days, so they get to replay this matchup tomorrow, so they can learn a lot as well from using those coaching tools. When they go home tonight, they can have a little chat with their coaches, but disadvantage, these guys are going to be later, aren't they? They haven't got as much time tonight, but they've obviously got tomorrow to sit there and have a look at their performances.
You see Tex kind of wiggling and working in the box, maybe even over-dribbled. But the big difference is, instead of having the 2 legs with an aggregate scoreline, you basically have a reset here where the point system, or the point allocation is different between those 2 matchups.
Yeah, exactly. So just stick with this game at the moment. See if anything unfolds while we're on it. Tex in possession at the moment. Again, just working his way into the box, seeing if he can create any spaces and chances there. Not at the moment. Oberon then, can he counter from this?
And Tex bread and butter this year in particular, it's going to be a lot of wing play, looking for the extra passes, cutting inside. And something that's always been terrifying for me watching Tex, and I'd hate to go up against it as well, he kind of stops and waits. You can see him aligning. That's not done without a plan in mind.
Rich.
Good chance. Go on.
I was just going to see if it came to anything.
Oh, beautiful extra pass.
Tech sometimes likes to have a bit of fun with his team. Has he added anyone in there that you might think, ooh, that's classic Tex?
He's kept it relatively straightforward. I'm just looking in the bottom right corner over a number of his cursors. Mbappe, Ronaldo, Jude
He's got Bellingham. We didn't see that earlier. We said not many people had Jude Bellingham in.
I think Pele also in his team as well, which a little bit of an outside shout. No Ginola inside.
Pele has been shifting out of lineups as we've had some of the new shapeshifter items. And then something tells me off the bench we're going to see Ronaldinho.
Well, yeah, and so we'll stay on this for a bit. 20 minutes played then, still 0-0. Remember, Tex's earlier matchup against Klinke was also 0-0 as well.
I'm also looking at this Matthias matchup with Diddy. Diddy's already got the opening goal, because that's always been the big, I guess, criticism or the concern. A lot of people saying if you don't score first on Matthias, it's game over, because he's so good at controlling the play and really being able to dictate what happens. Hey. On cue.
Smattering of applause.
Start talking about another game, and Tex is like, hold on.
Yeah, Tex crossed to the back post. He won that first contact and then just slotted it in to the back of the net. That'll be big for him as well, to sort of get that first goal of the tournament. You might see a little flurry from him now, and you saw Diogo with the coaching tool behind him as well there, breaking that goal down.
And thus far, this has been a very classic Tex performance. I know that it's early, but just in terms of swinging it side to side, looking for where space is going to align, and then kind of resurfacing, whether it's a cross, whether it's a double tap pass, something where you're realigning.
Yeah, well, is that the goal then that will kind of kickstart Tex's World Cup campaign? Well, the studio is getting quite lively as well. I've seen a couple of players who took part earlier. They're back in here. Keikarai is wandering around. So it's a nice vibe in here. Mike keeps likening it to a nightclub. I wouldn't possibly...
You said first-class flight. I said a super futuristic nightclub. I'd go.
Well, it's a nightclub all the same. Great energy in here. And Spencer is still down on the floor for us.
Yeah, if it's a nightclub, I'm down on the dance floor. And we've got a game going on right here. We've got loads of games I'm going to talk you through. Fantastic goal scored by Bashir against Edson just a few minutes ago. So Edson here finds himself 1-0 down after getting a great win, though, in his opening game. Next up here, we've got Webb Nasri going up against Dylan Mike. That one's sitting equal. Even Stevens 0-0 at the minute as Nasri mounts an attack here. Let's see if this leads to anything. Goalkeeper's going to collect the ball there as we move on. Over here, we have one of the pre-tournament favourites in Matthias Banana. This is sitting at 1-1. He was 1-0 down to Didi Crislito, who took the lead in this game, but Banana has equalised it, so that's sitting equal as well. Lots of games equally poised at the moment. Coming through here, you see Dylan Mike Station, the German we spoke to in the build-up. He's sitting at 0-0, although almost a goal for him there, just wide of the post. He, I think, looked quite disappointed after his first leg. He was 1-0 up. He ended up drawing that, so he'll be looking to get his first win up against Webb Nasri. And then we're going to move over to the second half of things. We have Klinke here, we spoke to just a few minutes ago, finds himself 1-0 down to the Spaniard JRA, although he's trying to fashion something in the box there, saved by the keeper. That's just before half-time in that matchup. The man from Bromby looking to find an equaliser. And this is the game. It's what timing that is, by the way. Oberon has just equalised against Tex. You guys are watching that game on stream just a few minutes ago. I can confirm there has been an equaliser for Oberon. So that is sitting at 1 apiece in that game. And as we finish off our little tour of the dance floor down here, we have the Spaniard, JRA, from Team Falcons, who finds himself 1-0 up. He lost his first game, so he'll be looking to get his first points on the board in this one. He's playing in the dark strips, just getting the ball back now. Going up against Klenke from Bromby, who we spoke to earlier. And then finally, we have Gilles, the Belgian from Genk, who is just doing some tampering with his team at the moment. But he obviously lost to his teammate Pinner in the first game. He's sitting 0-0 with Benny CR7, another person that lost their first game. So it's a pretty important game, only 2 games in, for one of these guys to pick up their first points. For now, though, I'll head it back to you guys in the... if this is the dance floor, what's that? The private area, the VIP room?
Hella yeah, but we didn't see any dancing down in the nightclubs, but I thought someone might get a wiggle on. Not to be at the moment, maybe when someone lifts that trophy. But yeah, we're in the VIP section. Only people that we invite up here can come and sit with us. No, I'm joking, we're very friendly. If anyone is down there and wants to come and join up the party, then they can do. We'd love a guest up here. We're gonna have a couple of guests joining us as this evening session goes on. I can tease who we've got, can't we?
Yeah,
Graveson's going to come and join us. Dux Graveson, he's going to be tuning in from Spain. We've got Casey as well. She's around here doing some social stuffs for FIFA. She's going to come and sit in as well. And Cal from SAF Gaming. I tell us he is here and he's going to come and sit on the sofa as well. So 3 guests as it happens. But if anyone's watching who's here in Copenhagen, come along, join this party. Because we'd love to hear from people and get other people's opinions, right?
No doubt. I'm happy to have some differentiating opinions and maybe some differentiating pronunciations because I've been sitting next to Richard for a minute now.
Well, we can jump into that text match where there has been an equaliser. So let's just have a little replay of that equalising goal there in that second round match.
It's a nice little ball over the top, to be fair, from Oberyn. One-on-one, pretty simple goal, you would say, for the Italian. Wales winning celebration with Cristiano Ronaldo. You're always susceptible to the over-the-top through ball, and then it's about the composure and the patience to find the back of the net. Good reply from Oberyn after going 1-0 down, because Tex typically will hit you with a 1-2. He'll go 2-0 up, one leg, game over.
Yeah, well, again, this is a sign of what we said. The 2 legs would have favoured Tex. He doesn't get that. He needs to possibly change his game a bit. Maybe he's relying on that, which is never going to come.
And I was just going to say, Route 1 football is kind of sometimes how it gets done. Because FIFA, at the end of the day, is still a very simple title, and then we add in all these additional details and particulars and almost some sort of storytelling within the matchup. But at the end of the day, the one pass, if it's open with the through ball, release them, let them take that touch, green time finish, top corner, best corner. And it's still super early. It's 1-1, and they're heading into halftime.
Yeah, but it would be slightly disappointing possibly to see Tex get 2 draws so early on in his 2 matchups.
It would be, especially from a winning position as well. After being 1-0 up, if you was to go on and draw this game, maybe even lose it, then you would be very disappointed. You're probably looking towards that break after round 4 and thinking, let's recompose, because I think something that maybe the people at home aren't fully getting, the games come thick and fast. You get maybe, 3-4 minutes in between your individual legs, and then the next game's on, And if you are not playing well, you do feel that, and you'll get blown away, as we saw this morning. A couple of the competitors just couldn't get going at all.
Yeah, which was a little surprising for some of the players. We're not going to dwell on that too much because we're now focusing on B and D. But again, let's have a little chat about some of the players in Group B, Mike. You've got the list in front of you. Who at the moment, is looking great and who you kind of sense to go far in this competition?
I'd like to see what happens out of this Pina-Yilmaz matchup. I have both of them advancing in my early prediction. Even though maybe Tex hasn't been as impressive thus far, it's still Tex. I definitely think he'll get out.
Yeah, we spoke a lot, didn't we, about Team Hullet, and Emre Yilmaz is one of those Team Hullet players there, and he actually had to do back-to-back penalties, Rich, if I remember, at the playoffs to get his spot here, and one of them was to his teammate, Manu Bashir, as well. So he had quite the route here, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think everyone had their own, story or narrative as to how did they get to this point? Who did they beat? When did they beat them? Most people seem to have a penalty kick dispute in there at some point. And then this is a huge matchup, even though it's early, because if you can start with 2 wins, it just puts you in such a commanding role, and then a lot of confidence, not only to see out games, but able to beat competitors at this stage, at this level.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Emre Yilmaz, again, a player to keep your eye on. As we've been talking about Team Hullet quite a lot. They've got some great young talent coming through, and we've been talking about they've possibly got, they've got 3 Team Hullet players and then a Ninjas in Pyjamas / Team Hullet player. So we're technically saying 3.5 players in the form of Ololito there. But what a great chance for that esports organisation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, there's a very much potential in which we could see a Team Hullet final at the World Cup. They could be playing for the whole prize. Beautiful goal into the box. Pina.
Wow.
Talk me through it, Mike.
Brilliant. So he whips in across. You're going to see a slight usage of the player lock, which is already advanced, but he uses it in a way to knock down, to make a manual run. You have that extra pass, hits it first time. You can't do that at home. And I mean that in no disrespect. It's just a lot of complications going into that setup, and it's just a brilliant play from Stefano Pina.
Yeah, well, the brilliance that we saw a couple of years ago are coming back now for the man from Belgium representing Genk Esports in this competition. we can have a little replay of this goal then, because like Mike just said, you cannot do this goal at home. This is how quality it is.
So you just see that he finds the matchup, and then he's going to lay that off. And that's all planned, hits R9, inside the box, probably about the 6-yard box. Great place to convert, and it doesn't give your opposition enough time to move the goalkeeper.
Well, it also shows, I guess, the confidence that Pinner is playing with at the moment, because we were talking about that earlier. Players are starting to rush their movements a little bit, which shows they're stressing out, whereas Pinner is taking his time to do that and creating magic like that.
And this is where we talked about earlier, players that actually have this big stage experience should be able to showcase that a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And we can hear noise throughout here. It means some of the matches are kicking off. We'll bring you up to speed on who was shouting and screaming. I'm possibly going to guess the Spanish players in JRA. If he got a goal, Rich, am I correct or am I wrong there?
Well, I can tell you Tex went 2-1 up.
Oh.
And then Oberon equalised pretty much straight away.
Yeah, I'd request that one to come back on to get a chance. I want to see how it closes off.
2-2 at the moment. Clenkate JRA won apiece in their particular game. Benny CR7 leading against Jill. And we just saw that sort of leading goal for Pina. Matthias Bonanno did equalise against Didi Chris Lito. Dullen Mike leading 2-0. Bashaw leading 2-0 against Edson. And Danny Pitbull winning 1-0 against Dami. So Dami's struggling a little bit at the moment.
Well, again, we're early on, aren't we, in this second session here of Groups B and D. We didn't really, earlier on, start figuring out who was playing at a good level until kind of mid-session. Maybe game 4, Mike?
I would say right around that break point, which was just after game 4, where we had maybe 15, 20 minutes for the competitors to maybe grab a snack, talk to people, walk away from the console. And then when it came back, that was kind of how you were going to close out for the day or the competition. And I really feel like that's when we saw separation or lack thereof, players making a resurgence, you name it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I feel like the next matchup we possibly can go to is a tale of these two. It's Didi Chris Lito and Matthias Bonanno. Both these boys will back their respective players here. This is such a great matchup. This is the end of this, of course.
It's Matthias on the attack from right to left in that black strip, looking to potentially win it here. Rude Hully, unfortunate, can't quite break through, but Didi Chris Lito, with this tie all square, will feel as though there's a win in the sort of looking here for him.
Well, yeah, it's a really kind of tightly contested matchup at the moment, and Spencer is down for us, and he's going to tell us a bit more about what's happening between these two.
Yeah, this is some serious guerrilla reporting for me, guys, I'm not going to lie. I'm right pitch side, if you like, watching the dying embers of this game. Looking forward to speaking to Chris after this. Let's see what happens as he mounts an attack. He hasn't had as much of the ball in the minutes that I've been up here watching. He's getting a bit frustrated there as he loses possession in a crucial time. 30 seconds left on the clock. This might be the only attack we see, if we see one at all. 2 minutes of injury time. Chris gets it back. Can he nick an important winner here with just over a minute to go? That's going to be a foul, surely, ref. Okay, free kick. It's all or nothing now for Didi Chris Lito. Well, not all or nothing, because he'll take a draw away if he doesn't get the W. But this will probably be the last move of the game. He's going to hit one, green timed, but not going to challenge the keeper, and that will be all she wrote, and we're going to jump straight in and invade Chris's privacy here. I want to get that authentic reaction. One word, Chris, how do you feel about that game?
Tough.
Tough. Well, speaking of tough, you've had pretty much as tough an opening 2 fixtures as you can have. You've obviously just taken on Manu Bashaw there, and you played Dylan and Mike before that. These are 2 of the guys that have qualified for all 3 events, and you've held your own in both games. You've got to be feeling good.
No, not really, because I want to win a game. So 2 draws is not bad, but also not good. So next game, hopefully I'll win.
Mate, you're still undefeated. That's how you got to look at it, undefeated. I've got a question for you. No coach. You've gone on your own for this one, solo. Is that because you prefer that way, or what's the strategy?
You know, I've been in the game for so many years, so I know what to do, and it's just second nature, so yeah.
He's completed it, mate. He's completed it. He's won the E-Champions League, among many other things. He's here trying to win an E-World Cup, though, and he's just avoided defeat against 2 very good players. Sure, he wants some W's, and I'm sure they'll come very soon. But it was a tough start to life in this group for Didi Chris, and he's come out looking good. So keep an eye on the man from North America. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Yeah, Didi Chris there, Mike, looking pretty dejected. Just keeping draws, like Mike just asked me. He said, I want to win. But he's Matias Bonanno. But to keep a draw against him is a great achievement. We can say this, but obviously Diddy knows how it feels to be there on his own in the pod. He's got no moral support with him.
We might be a little bit disappointed as well because versus Matias, he had the lead. Yeah. And he might be happier about the Dolan Mike draw previously because he was losing 1-0 and was able to battle back. Either way, he's taking points off of both those competitors, which works in his favor. And it sets him up nicely for tomorrow where he could potentially win that matchup if he's able to get a win there and really take points heavily off some of the top competitors.
Your thoughts on no coach?
I think you heard it from him. I'm not going to tell someone that they need a coach or don't need a coach. You heard it from him himself. He knows what to do. He knows how to win. He's won before. I do think in previous, I'm not sure, we've not seen Diddy Crislito for a few years, and you might be able to sort of back me up on this, Mike, or you might tell me I'm a fool, but in previous tournaments, it's been the mental side of the game where it's let him down. He's got close to tournaments, but he's found it hard to get over the line, and maybe sometimes having a friend or even a family member or a mental coach there, not someone who's going to tell him how to play FIFA, but someone who's going to tell him everything will be okay, calm down, push through the games, could help him.
I got insider scoop on this.
Mike, do you want to go in his pod?
If I don't
could go in his pod.
He'd have to make a request. Let me.
Sorry, no, Mike, go on.
Let me not intervene with what he's got. He's doing pretty well right now. I don't want to be blamed if something shifts. I don't want that on my back or my heart, anything like that. But I was going to say, Diddy has always been amazing from a skill set perspective in a qualification. So we saw him at so many events. In fact, he might be the best at qualifying to events. It was really incredible. He always wins everything out of North America. And for a while there, he was getting results. He was getting out of the groups or the Swiss stage, but he wasn't making that final run. And he started seeing a mental coach, and that's when he won the E-Champions League immediately following that. So if anybody knows all the routes, the ups and the downs, the facing of adversity, the roller coaster of competitive FIFA, it is someone like Diddy. And if he's running it free agent mode, no coaching staff, getting results, if anything, it's just making him more and more attractive as somebody should be dialing on his phone. I can pass you his number.
I know you said that, Mike, because I know you're good friends with him, obviously both from New York, so you know each other really well. And I'll always have that memory from Madrid when he had his dad there as well, and we got to go on the tour around the stadium, and then, you know, he got to go to that VIP trip to the final there, lift the trophy on the stage before the final. It was just a memory that I'll never forget in my kind of FIFA career as well. And for him to be here again, trying to make this resurgence, and the fact that he's had this mental coach, and a lot of players do now go down that route as well, don't they, Rich?
Yeah, they certainly do. I think we've seen mental coaches be sat behind players. I remember the Club World Cup in Milan. I think it was Edgar who was behind Fnatic in that tournament, and it is a thing that players will do, and they'll have someone there to sort of see them through the game. They don't need to be told, I think we've said this already, how to play FIFA, but they can be told how to mentally prepare to play FIFA.
And I don't think we should say that he's fallen off. He's had a more quiet year because he wasn't signed. But if you wanted to date back even not this season, but EMLS the previous year, he won League Series 1, he won League Series 2, and he won EMLS Cup. So he had a fantastic year. He just didn't re-sign a contract. Therefore, we didn't see him in as many events.
And obviously, there wasn't the big events either because they were all online. So that kind of affected probably our mentality when looking at these players as well. Well, the round of 2 has now been completed as well, because we can see over to our left-hand side all the next matchups. And again, we have some tasty ones. Mike's pointing like everyone can see. Mike, no one can see. You have to talk when you point.
Okay, well, I am pointing. I'm doing a lot of pointing. I'm loving the first matchup here. We have, well, I guess it's our first matchup on the screen, but Klinke versus Stefano Pina. Tex versus JRA. Come on. Everybody wants that one. JRA is ready to get back into the gym and bench press something. I like Danny the Pitbull versus Bashor as well. I like a lot of these matchups. Even we got a South American matchup as well with Matias Bonanno and Edson. And Edson looked really great in the opener, not so much in the secondary matchup. Is he going to be able to bring that type of energy into that game?
So they're round 3 fixtures. I can tell you some round 2 results.
Well, wait for it. We're going to put a graphic up to go with your round 2 results.
Hey, they don't know what he's pointing at either.
They're not all in, but Rich, give us the scores on the doors.
Yeah, I certainly will. You can see the tables currently from Group B, how those fixtures did take shape. Oberon 2, Tex 2 at the moment. Klinke 2, JRA 1. Jill 0, Benny CR7 3. And Pina squeaked out the victory against Emre Yilmaz. Pina 6 for 6 at the moment. Jill and JRA both struggling. Takes 2 draws at the moment. Over to Group D. Danny Pitbull is leading the pack on 6 points. Dylan Mike on 4, Edson 3, Matthias Bonanno, Didi Crislito both on 2, and then down the bottom, Bashor, which is a bit surprising at the moment. Obviously only 2 games being played. Webb Nasri and Dami suffering 2 defeats. Dami did lose 2-0 against Danny Pitbull. Bashor beat Edson 2-0. Dylan Mike beat Webb Nasri 2-1, and obviously we saw the result between Matthias and New York City, not New York City, Didi Crislito.
He hasn't got a club.
He's still living in New York.
Technicality.
I'll cover your back.
Technicality.
We've got New York City Mike LaBella as well then, if we're saying that. Dami, though, tough time on his hands at the moment, and now he goes up against Dylan Mike in round 3.
Yeah, Manchester Richard really not too happy with that result from Dami in the second game. You look forward at his round 3 fixture up against Dylan Mike. It's a tough game. I actually think it's just about to get started, actually, between Dylan and Dami. They're both in the booths, about to get underway. It's not must-win yet for Dami, but he needs to get a win on the board just to get himself going again.
And I was going to say, Danny Pitbull. Quality so far.
Putting in work.
He's putting in work.
And if you know him, or if you've ever had a chance to meet him, he's such a positive
nice
guy. He comes up and gives you a hug, all smiles, just the epitome of what you want to be around. I would invite him to any party, especially a FIFA club.
Well, we're in the club. He's here. We can invite him up here.
We get him into the VIP. I'll take him all day.
If he wins, I'm sure he'll want to chat with us up here. But he's taking on Manu Bashor in this next round of fixtures. And a little note from Manu Bashor, he is undefeated in the playoffs. So he went 5-0 in Swiss, and then he kept in that upper bracket. So, again, if you're looking at recent form, that man is on fire.
And we talked to him yesterday, trying to kind of get a little bit of a read. And he said he's feeling good, put in the warm-up games, doesn't want to overdo it. And, of course, it's translating amazing.
Yeah, exactly. We can see Manu Bashor there and Danny Pitbull, the nicest guy, which Mike was saying, gives you a hug. So if you're in that booth, in the vicinity, go and ask for a hug if you're feeling a bit low. Maybe you can.
You don't even have to ask. He's coming for you.
I mean, I don't know if he just come up and give you a hug. Look, and who's in the back of Manu Bashor? We're talking about him. Levinken there, a well-known face in the FIFA scene. He's now taking on a full-time coaching role.
Yeah, Levinken, great guy as well. I had the opportunity to chat to him at the playoffs at Swiss, and he was really, really confident about Manu Bashor. Just the talent, the mechanical FIFA talent that he possesses. Yes, he might not the experience or maybe even the wins under his belt in terms of a global stage, but the ability that he has, he can win this.
And for a player of the quality that Lev was to say that as well, complimenting someone he's now coaching, has to have some kind of quality to it.
It's definitely got credibility, and it's kind of been backdoored. I know we just keep talking about the Team Hullet camp or the collective or the research center. I don't know what we need to rebrand them as, but the success story has been unparalleled with talent that's not necessarily proven. But right when they get to the LAN event, they've been doing well online, they're ready to go.
They wouldn't sign you if they didn't know that you had quality. It's almost like the seal of approval, like, yeah, I've got the Team Hullet contract, now I need to go and be one of the world's best. Like, they see the ability, and then they harness that, and they level up.
Yeah, the players are really kind of leaning on each other as well to grow as a team unit there over at Team Hullet. Well, before we get into these round 3 matches, they'll start playing as we chat, but we teased our special guest. He is now joining us from Spain. You got Gravison from Dux. I think he's on the line with us now. Gravison, hey!
How are we doing, guys?
We are very good. Thank you so much for joining us. It looked like you were on holiday yesterday from your social media. Oh, you're nodding. Yes, you were. Where were you and where are you now?
Yeah, I was up in the north of Spain, in Asturias, where you can see the horses, the cliffs, the sea, the sun, everything. And right now I'm at Dux headquarters, training with my teammates because they're playing next week at the FIFAe World Cup. So yeah, everything. I'm really pumped up to be here because the tournament so far seems so good. I mean, the venue, wow.
The venue is wow. We wish you were here joining us. Obviously, you've been a part of our team many times this season for the E-Champions League. But Grav, quickly, have you seen much of the day so far, and what have you made of some of the performances?
I mean, Olelito has been amazing so far. Obviously, the Group C, some may call it the Group of Death, but it's been really good. Obviously, Nicolas is not performing as well, but you kind of see the momentum he brought back in 2019, qualifying in when I think it was 3 or 4 matches in a row on the second day, so he might do it tomorrow. And on this group, I just saw the Didi Criscito against Matias Bonanno match. It was really something else because you could see Matias Bonanno defense against Didi Criscito's offense, which is amazing. So yeah, we can expect many more matches. And right now, I got my eyes on Tex against JRA because the Spaniard has to win at least this match, and he's playing probably the best player in the world right now.
Well, first off, how are you, Gravitz? It's a pleasure to see you. The venue is incredible. And as always, we always lean on you for kind of the Spanish expertise. So for the people at home, tell us a little bit more about JRA, because we know how much it meant for him to get to this point. He's been grinding the game for many years now. I know you have all of the insider scoop.
Yeah, he's been playing FIFA competitively for at least 10 years, and he hasn't qualified till this year for a new World Cup. And his mom fly to Copenhagen, also his brother, so he obviously means a lot to him having all his family there, and qualifying through the La Liga spot. He lost in the final, but he did an amazing tournament so far. So yeah, I think the pressure might be on for him because he lost his first 2 matches, but I mean, he's been against the ropes many times in these 10 years competing, and I think he has to score at least 1 or 3 points against Tex, but I can see him doing big things in this tournament because his confidence is there.
Grav, firstly, lovely to chat. I think the last time we spoke to each other at the Champions League final, we then had a lovely evening at the Team of the Season Cup together. That can be for another time. I don't know if you've seen, there's a poll currently running on social media of where do you think the region in which the champion will come from? Europe, North America, South America, or Asia? I was trying to defend against the numbers South America. You, I know you're a huge fan of Nicholas and Matthias. Why don't you tell the people at home how you would defend South America? Nicholas and Matthias, can Nicholas turn it around, and what does Matthias need to do to put a marker down in group?
They obviously can do it. I mean, South America has to be one of the toughest regions, if not the toughest one to compete in, because they have so many quality players and not as much spots. So it's really hard to qualify there. I was just talking with Diego and Cecinho right now because they are in the other room. And you could see some players like Young, the Brazilian guy, who probably many European guys didn't know about, and he's been smashing it today. And obviously at playoffs as well. And Matias Bonanno, what's to say about him? He just won the Team of the Season Cup. He was the runner-up in the Champions League, and in the La Liga, in the regular tournament, he's been doing amazing as well. So I don't know. You could see this year the first South American player lifting that trophy, lifting the World Cup. But I don't know. I think Nicolas might be my favorite.
Wow.
And I'm telling this as he's not performing as well as he should have been. But I just think when it comes to these final days, when he's against the ropes, he just turns it up every single time. We saw it in the ECL final against Matias Bonanno, and I think we're going to see it against tomorrow. So yeah, I'm with you. South America is probably the toughest region out there.
Yeah, Grav, I think Nicholas said he lost his 3 first-round matchups in 2019 at the World Cup and, goes on to perform there. So we're expecting him to do something tomorrow. But I'd love your thoughts on the group stages. They obviously are only playing 1 leg of FIFA here, 7 matches today, then kind of the next leg tomorrow, 7 more matches. How difficult is that as a player to get your head around when that's not a regular format in FIFA?
I think that's the beauty of the World Cup, because you've been competing the Swiss format for the whole year. Maybe you've played best of 2 matches, but you've not played as much best of 1 matches. So this is the beauty. You reach this final stage and you gotta perform, because if not, what happened during the whole year, it doesn't matter. So it's kind of far, and I think you can see the best players adapting to it pretty quick. Olelito, he might not have done the best season so far, but when he reaches this tournament with a different kind of format, he just performs at his best. You could see as well right now in this group with Didi Kislito or obviously Dul and Mike against Damien. Beautiful match coming up now. I think when it comes to adjusting to new formats, the best players and the players who adjust as quick as they can, they just have their biggest chances of making it to not only to the next stage, but of becoming one of the players who can win the tournament. So I think it's hard, but I like it because you just have this tournament at this kind of format in the World Cup, and I think that's what it makes it as beautiful as it is.
And you've talked about players that have obviously adjusted well, but we didn't go into detail exactly what that looks like. So let's say you're competing, Grav, you're playing now in these single format games. What are you changing as a pro player knowing that you don't have that second leg?
It's different because we just saw Matias Bonanno against Didi Kislito, and it was probably the last minute of the match. And you saw Matias Bonanno with the D-pad tactics activating pretty much everything offensively. And he lost the ball, and Didi Kislito nearly scored there. So you just have to think every single time, like, do I want a draw against this opponent, or do I want to risk this point but getting another two? So it's just, I think, in my opinion, you just gotta risk it every single time because, I mean, a draw is important, but I think if you wanna make a statement and if you wanna qualify in those, obviously those first two spots, because you'll get an easier matchup in the next format, but I think if you want to make a statement that you want to win the tournament, you just got to risk it every single time. So I'm with Matias Bonanno. If you're in the minute 90 and you got to activate all the D-pad offensive tactics, you just have to do it.
Yeah, Grav, we're kind of in the same opinion here, but we feel like a lot of players are being a bit safer on day one, and we might see them going for it on day two when it is crunch time to make it through to the knockouts, of course. So we'll have to see if we get more goals and more people taking risks tomorrow on day two here. But Grav, thank you so much for giving up your time tonight and coming on and joining us. We wish you were here. You can't be. Good luck, though, for you and your team for next week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, love you guys.
Thanks,
Let's see
Grav.
some nice FIFA.
Oh, there we go. Lovely to get a friend of the show on and giving his insight. He's such a student of the game as well, so it's lovely to hear his thoughts. Well, we're going to go into another interview now. Tuga, who played earlier this morning, he's standing by with Spencer.
Yes, my friend Tuga is with me here. We're actually sitting in one of the streaming setups. There's a couple of guys streaming to the left of me here, and people from various teams can come, have their own setup completely, and cover the games they want to cover. Let's remind you guys, this is like a companion show. Keep this tab open, but make sure you're on FIFA.gg, watching the games you want to watch, maybe watching some of the other partner streams as well, and getting that overall view. Now, I want to speak to Tuga now, obviously. A pretty decent start to today. You're sitting in fourth in your group right now with 9 points. But it didn't start that great for you. What changed?
I was gaining confidence throughout the games. I was a bit nervous because it's the first World Cup since 3 years ago. And the level here is really good. The top players are playing here. But game by game, I was gaining confidence. I was available to put my game, what did I practice throughout the year, and that gave me 9 points, which I'm in 4th position, really close to 3rd and 5th. But tomorrow I need to step up, win more points, and make the playoffs.
Tuga is one of the 7 players here who have qualified for the clean sweep. They qualified for the FIWC this week. You've got the Club World Cup next week, and then you've got E-Nations at the end, obviously representing Portugal. What's the minimum expectation for you now? You must be so proud that you've qualified for all 3, but if you don't come away with any wins, you'd be disappointed. So what's the minimum hope?
Let's see. I would like, obviously, to win a trophy. I know that it will be really hard, but to qualify to the 3 World Cups means that the season was amazingly good. And I need to clinch one of those World Cups to see after the season ends, to watch back and see that the season was really good. Because although I qualified for the 3 main events, if I come here and get Swiss in all of 3, it won't be good. So I need to practice, need to work hard so that my ambitions go through and maybe win at least one World Cup.
It's a fantastic achievement. We're sitting here, obviously, at the FIFAe World Cup. And when you turn around and you look at what we've got here, it's an incredible setup, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The arena is beautiful. I think all the players that play FIFA, even casually, wants to compete here, and they should be proud that we are growing up as a scene, as a community, and I hope in the future this will be much more expanded, to be much more viewers, much more people to attend, because FIFA is one of my preferred games in the world. I love playing football in real life. I love playing FIFA, and I hope to continue playing for a long time.
We are going to bring some crowds in here as the events get to the conclusion stage as well, so it's going to be great to get that atmosphere. We've talked about you. You've been watching here in the second session. Obviously, you took part this morning. Who's impressed you? Who else are you looking at?
In the morning session, I was really impressed by Olelito. I know that he's a great player, but the level that he shows, not only against me, but against other players, I was a little bit impressed, because in playoffs, I played against him. I think he was not on his top level, because I remember seeing him last year playing incredibly good, and this year he was a bit in and out, but here in the events, he clearly shows what he's made of, and he plays a really FIFA. In the afternoon session, I'm watching, but Pina, Klenke are playing really good FIFA.
Yeah, a lot of people have been surprised by Olelito's performance. Listen, you're sitting there with 9 points. You know you need some more if you're going to qualify tomorrow. So best of luck to you in your 7 games that he's going to play. But I can hear things kicking off in the background, so I'm going to throw it back to the sofas and find out what's going on.
Yeah, thanks, Benson. It's great to hear from Tuga as well. And Tuga, actually, I was watching a video on him. He said his military experience gives him the edge, he feels, with like the resilience there and his determination, which is it's quite interesting to hear a player who's got military experience as well as being a great FIFA player.
And it parallels with the way that he plays FIFA. He often outlasts you. When you think about going up against Tuga, you know it will be a grind, and you can't make any mistakes. He has so much discipline, both defensively and even with his build-up play, that he really challenges you from a mentality standpoint.
Yeah, he spoke about being disciplined as well in how he plays his FIFA. We were speaking, weren't we, with Gravison a bit earlier. He said the massive matchup, in his opinion, is the Tex taking on JRA Lion, the Spanish player from Falcons. This is what's happening there. Tex, wow, is turning into Tex that we know and love. 4-1.
Yeah, Gravison probably turn the monitor off if you're supporting JRA, because it's looking a little bit ugly at the moment. Tex leading 4-1, 30 minutes left to play in a one-leg shootout as well. And we knew this was going to happen at some point. We knew Tex was going to kick into gear, but a little bit dangerous for the rest of the tournament that it's happening in game 3. 4-1 up. This is doesn't really happen in one-leg games of FIFA. We've seen very narrow margins. We've seen one-goal swings. We've seen a lot of draws. 4-1 is a statement.
Especially against a competitor like JRA, who's kind of been building a bit of a storyline, been in the scene for over a decade, finally at a FIFAe World Cup, brought out his family. We talked to Grav a little bit about it as well. And something that I love about this competition is it's over the course of a couple days for the group stage. So you can have a fantastic opening day or vice versa, and then be able to resurface or fall apart. Either way, I'm here for all the drama.
What do you think Tex has changed in this game to score this many goals after 2 draws earlier on, Rich?
Probably just warming up, I'll be honest. He's probably just getting acclimatised, getting used to the surroundings. It might have taken him 2 games. That's technically 1 series. That's 2 legs, you would imagine. So I think he's just getting going, getting the engine rolling, and I think I don't see him dropping many points from here on out, I'll be honest.
And the irony here is, even though you're seeing a big offensive scoreline, the shift, in my opinion, has more been defensively. He looks more confident with a lot of his traps. His micromanaging of players is better than what we saw in the first couple matchups. But great defense often turns into easier offense. I'm just a walking or sitting cliche, as you say. But it does play a big factor for getting more offensive looks.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many great matchups. I was just having a little glance over there. We have Danny Pitbull, who was topping the table there, taking on Manu Bashir. We can jump in that one and see if he's still being as dominant as he has been throughout the course of his first 2 matches. And it looks like he is continuing that reign of form. Oh, no, sorry, I thought that's a 3-2. 2-0 to Manu Bashir, which shows the quality of that player.
Absolutely, yeah. He drew his first game of the day versus Matias Bonanno, 0-0. He then went into his second game, beat Edson 2-0, and now leading 2-0 against. I just got Jill on the mind, I'll be honest.
And
2-0 against Danny Pitbull.
If I may negotiate here, I'd like to see this Dolomite Dammy matchup. It's 2-all, 75th minute. This is really, really important for Dammy. Not that it's not important for Dolomite, but just the way that this group has started out.
Yeah, 2 apiece as it currently stands in that particular game. A couple of other scores from around the games as we got 14 minutes. Your wish is my desire, Mike LaBelle. I'll get you the games on.
I appreciate that. He's
1-0.
actually controlling it on the
Yeah,
iPad.
I'm running the stream from the iPad. 1-0. Webb Nasri leading against Didi Crislito at the moment. So that'll be a big, big win for Webb Nasri as well. He needs points on the board, currently bottom of the table on 0. So that will be a big 3 points for Webb Nasri. As you can see this game in the final couple of seconds. Great timing as we're potentially joining on a Didi Crislito attack here. Finesse shot from D! Oh!
Yeah, Didi, they'll be frustrated with that. Webb Nasri, the only player representing Asia. So the pressure of an entire nation on his shoulders there. Mike's looking at me like he has a big point.
Well, also coming into that, Webb Nasri was winless. So now he's shifted. He actually jumps ahead of Didi Crislito, who had a couple draws to start the competition. If anything, we were saying he did well to draw against Matthias. He did well to draw against Dolan Mike. But then dropping points to Webb Nasri really hurts you. And that's what we talk about consistency being so important to your final result.
Yeah, exactly. And as lots of results start coming in, we'll try and keep you across all of them. Klenke and Pinner there, full-time 1-1 in that matchup. That was a pretty big match as well because both those players have been playing so well so far in their opening 2 rounds.
Yeah, we've got 2 1-1s currently. I've just seen a very late goal over my left shoulder. I'm trying to locate it on the screen. I don't know where it was, but someone's just won a game. So I saw the celebration running away to the corner flag. We'll get you that. I think it might have been Matthias Banano winning the game in the last kick. You can't wipe the smile off my face. R9 Ronaldo, 90th minute, 3-2 win. That will be for Matthias Banano. First win of the tournament up against Edson. It was 2-0 up. Edson made it 2-2, and then he scored in the 90th to clinch the points.
Yeah, a South American affair there, and I think Matthias Banano will be quite happy with that matchup. We've spoken about his achievements so far this year and how much he's grown as a player. He's had that big move, of course, from South America over to Europe, and it's just been helping him. He's such a young player, but is taking all that move in his stride.
I'm not sure that he has coaches. I think they're intimidators. He just keeps adding bodies back there. His posse's getting bigger, and they just yell louder and louder. We heard that here. We knew something went down.
Yeah, exactly. Something's going down in all these pods, of course. Dami, though, looking a little bit frustrated in the corner of my screen, and that's because what happened in his matchup, Richard?
Yeah, it was a tough game for Dami. 2-2, I think, the final scoreline for Dolan Mike and Dami. Again, points dropped potentially for Dami. He might be looking at that game, but Dolan Mike he's playing well so far, so draws aren't a bad result. I can tell you in Group B, in fact, it was quite interesting because we had 2 big goal swings and 2 1-1 draws. We saw Tex beat JRA 4-1. That was about as comfortable a result as possible. Just winding down the final few moments of that game. I think he might have just scored again, actually, Tex, to make it 5
Other
goals.
way, 4-2.
4-2? I'll tell you.
Helps with the goal difference.
It will, yeah.
It is a consolation goal in the 90th minute.
And Obram winning 3-0 against Jill.
Well, we're just seeing a couple of goals now as well from Oberon and Tex's matchup, which happened a little bit earlier. That finished as a draw, that one did, which was great to see. That was 2-2 in the end. Now we've jumped to Emre Yilmaz and Pinner before we're finally just ending on this 4-2 in the end, a matchup between Tex and JRA, which, like Mike just said, would be great. The fact that JRA got another goal in the dying moments of that game. Just if it comes down to the fine margins tomorrow, that may be a difference.
We don't know how important it's going to be, but Rich and I have both been teasing this a tad bit, but I can almost guarantee that at least in one of these groups, it's going to come down to goal difference.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it is. Tomorrow is going to be crucial, guys. If you think today is exciting, talk about tomorrow when we get to these last round matchups, and this being going home or going through to knockouts is on the line. Well, Spencer's around about grabbing everybody he can for us, and he's got someone now. I'm not sure who you've got, Spence.
I'll tell you who I've got. I've got the man who no one's got more points than right now. 3 games in, 2 wins and a draw, 7 points. His name, Manu Bashir. Team Hullet, of course, and his coach, Lev Vinken. Let's not forget about him. Manu, you've got to be pretty happy with that start.
Yeah, I couldn't wish for a better start, I think. I haven't conceded a goal yet, so I hope to keep that up. And, yeah, let's see what the next games brings.
Not conceded a goal at this level. 3 games in is scary. I've got a question I've got to ask you. I've been wanting to ask this for a while. What do they feed you at Team Hullet? Because this talent factory is getting a little bit crazy.
Well, I think the whole infrastructure around Team Gullit is one of the best in the world, if not the best. And yeah, we couldn't wish for any better circumstances to practice under. And yeah, we have weekly sessions with our coaches before big tournaments. We like the playoffs and now the World Cup. We had a little boot camp together, so everyone came together to practice and to like create a team feeling. And I think that's one of the keys to my results so far, and hopefully I can keep it up until tomorrow.
Yeah, I think when you've got so many players in the same place playing so well at the top of their game, everyone gets better, don't they? It's incredible what they're doing at Team Gullit. When you've got a team named after one of the most iconic FIFA players of all time, you're going to be good. Speaking of icons, I want to talk to Lev Vinken for a second. Lev, you're coaching today. Tell me, are you more of a Johan Cruyff or a Louis van Gaal?
No, Louis van Gaal, both though, a little mix, you know. With Van Gaal, like of course Cruyff, but no, I do nothing. He do everything. I just try to help him as much as I can, but I'm really proud of him so far, all games, and hopefully win as well.
There's a great vibe up here in the Team Gullit camp. Everyone from Team Gullit's been representing well, not just today, across the last few years, really. It's been breakout for these guys. Keep up the good work, guys. You've only 3 games in. You've got a lot more to go, but no goals conceded. That's decent. Back to you guys.
That is decent. And do you think there's maybe a clause in the contract there? They have to use Ruud Gullit in their teams. I don't know, have we seen him popping in their teams?
I would bet on that. I would bet on that. I would like him to make an appearance. He came to E-Champions League.
He did indeed. That's when Zizinho was playing for him back in the day, got to the final 8 there. And Gravison just mentioned him. He was in the Ducks Gaming Centre as well. So these names switch in terms of teams, just like we see in real life football as well. So it's great to kind of watch the transfer windows at the end of the season. Well, let's bring you up to speed then on the standings after 3 matches from groups B and D. Pretty much, Richard will fill in the gaps for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the top, it's going to be Oberon, 7 points, alongside Pina on 7. Tex has just been updated, as you see right there, to 3rd on 5 points after his 4-2 victory. Klenke on 5, Benny CR7 on 4, and Emre Yilmaz on 4, and JRA and Jill struggling at the moment. But they will not have any easier matchups either, because Jill will take on Tex in the next game and Pina will take on JRA. Going over to Group D, I can tell you that Manu Bashar, he might have conceded none, but he scored 4 at the moment. Perfect +4 goal difference, 7 points from 9. Danny Pitbull, 6. He was in a 2-0 defeat against Manu Bashar in the last game. Dylan Mike, Matthias Banano, Edson and Didi Crislito all in around 5 through 7, and Dami getting a point on the board against Dylan Mike in his previous match, and Wed Nasri will go up after that result, beating Didi Crislito to tied 5th.
Yeah, I think the shock there is Dami. We bigged him up so much and he's just not living up to those expectations at the moment.
And he hasn't looked as fluid or free flow, which is so important. And we talked to him prior to everything getting underway, and I know Rich touched on it, but he said if it comes down to tactics, I've got this covered. If they're not as tactically sound as Dami is, he'll be good to go. But there's still a lot of games left, so I don't like to get too down on anyone. It's still early. We've seen so many things shift even today. We're talking about the 4th round being that key moment. After the 4th round, we start to really, digest a little bit deeper, let everything go through. Maybe it's because they've eaten or we've eaten, and that's the digestion. I don't know, but you get the idea.
Mike loves talking about food and what it means to the players on here. If the teammates buy them food, that's a good vibes. Mike likes eating food, but yeah, I mean, Dami not getting to the level that he expected. When Spencer spoke to him earlier, he was a different player to the kind of Dami that we've recently seen in the booth.
He also could have potentially played 2 of the 3 players who are going to be going through as well. Dylan Mike and Danny Pitbull, who have started really strong. So maybe he's getting some of the harder matchups out the way first. All the games are tough, but if you're playing the people above you, you need to beat the people around you to qualify. You're not going to win every game, but if you beat the people who are 6th, 5th, and maybe even 4th, then you can start to make a bit of progress. Dami won't need us to tell him that he needs to play better. He's been around the block. He's been at this event before where he knows where he needs to clutch up almost, and well, there's so many games left, 33 points left to play for. If I was a Dami fan, I won't be worrying yet.
Someone who may be worrying, we've spoken about him already, Didi Crislito, 2 points now after 3 matches. Mike, he's getting a bit worried in his pod on his own.
Diddy definitely needs a result coming into this, or this matchup, at least in my opinion. And I'll say the same actually with Dammy. Going up against Webb, again, that's somebody that's right next to you. As Richard was saying, the best way to climb these ranks, maybe it's not always going to be the upsets, especially if you're not in form, but you got to beat the people around you in order to start getting on that ladder.
Yeah, and I think for Diddy, it's a great time to shine. He obviously wants a new club, possibly not. He's not openly said that, but he's a free agent, and it says that under his name on the screen. So it is a chance for him to put his name out there again.
The match that he's playing against Edson, 6th versus 5th. This is the game that you have to win. These are the games that you have to pick up points from.
Edson just dropped a couple of points as well. Remember, he started the day off with a win. He's lost his last 2 results. If there's a time, this would be that time to kind of shift to get yourself into the right place, because Diddy had those opening couple draws.
Yeah, and I think as well the next matchups that we're going to see, we've mentioned this already, they're round 4, they're crucial. But Manu Bashir taking on Dylan Mike is a great one. It's a chance to see just how good Manu Bashir is. We said he's undefeated at the moment, scored 4 goals, hasn't conceded any. Dylan Mike's had a slower start to his campaign at the moment, getting a couple of draws, but this is going to be where we see these matchups and see how the players aren't really getting on, Rich.
Yeah, it certainly will be. We'll start to see, I think this is where about, if we go back to the groups A and C, where Ololito started to pull away, where probably Levi David started to pull away a little bit. As you can see, Jill versus Tex here. Is it going to be an opening goal inside the first 7 minutes? Unbelievable play. Has to go in.
That deserves more. So you've got a La Croqueta into a secondary fake shot cancel. It's just gorgeous and so technical. It really deserves the finish. And it also gives you a little bit of a reminder that Tex is maybe in full form here, outside of the conversion there. But just to be able to pull that off, a lot of fingers don't move like that.
Well, that's what Gravison was saying as well, wasn't he? He was saying that's going to be the difference between those people that go through if they actually take these chances. And we said we're not really sure we're seeing them at this moment, but the likes of Tex and Matthias are trying to find that little bit of magic in their game.
Yeah, they certainly are, and I think Tex has the magic in his game. He's got the magic in his fingertips, and well, there's a lot of players at the moment who are magicless. Like they are struggling. Well, I can tell you one person who has a bit of a comeback. Dammy, 1-0 up already against Webb Nazari.
We've got Richard Potter over here telling us about Hogwarts. But I will say with the likes of Tex in particular, he does such a good job of balancing the simplicity and then also having moments of just being deceptive. Even us watching, it's difficult to sometimes predict what he's going to come with in terms of the skill combinations.
Yeah, well, let's stick on this because it's going to be a great matchup regardless. One of the best players to have ever played FIFA. Tex going up against Gilles, who needs something at the moment.
Oh.
Tex is in full flow right now. Probably deserves a goal, probably deserves 2 goals, to be honest, with the chances that he's creating. Gilles is right up against it, 20 minutes into this game. It's been one-way traffic. I keep glancing to the iPad, up at the screen, and Tex is attacking every time I look up.
He's getting into those key areas too easily. There's those areas right around the edge of the box that we're going to see time and time again, but they're just more advantageous. And when Tex is getting there, it allows him more creativity. And when you have attackers like Mbappe or Pele or R9, they're going to win plenty of those 50-50s.
Again, Tex then just dispossessing Gilles in and around the box there. He can't get anything, can he, down his end, working for him at the moment. Tex very much man in possession as we go for a throw-in from Gilles. Can he make anything come from this bit of possession that he's currently finding himself in? Again, out wide, which we keep talking about. The players like to do that to find some spaces in the middle. Oh, chance.
This has been a great game so far. Real end-to-end. And this is what, if you're on FIFA.gg and you're opening up a number of different tabs, this is the level that you're going to expect. The end-to-end gameplay, the end-to-end action, because it is only one leg of FIFA.
And I'd love to reiterate that for the majority of people that are watching, unless you're at a high level of competition in the FIFA scene, you just don't have a lot of these additional steps, dribbles, maneuvers, and then the cancellations. 99% of you are shooting when you get inside the box and you've got an angle. You're not going to have some of these additional steps.
Yeah, let's just see if Tex can mount the charge here. No. Gilles then back in possession at the moment. Well, that one is very end-to-end here. We thought Tex should have got 2 early goals there. Hasn't quite converted anything at the moment. We're sure we're going to find a goal soon in that matchup. Richard just mentioned it, though, when we were on the game. If you want to watch these games in their entirety, you can do so. Not here right now. You can watch them on FIFA.gg. We will have lots more gameplay as we approach the business end of this tournament. This man, we know and love him for his commentary as well as his punditry on here. He'll be commentating on Sunday. Brandon Smith will be joining the party then as well. So you get to see the champion crowned with these guys talking about it, which is going to be great fun. Mike, though, loads more action happening in and around the studio here. Do you want to pick a game?
Yeah, I've got 9 monitors. I was going to say, if you can do me a solid over there on your iPad, I feel like there's going to be a goal coming in this Edson and Diddy Crislito. It might have actually just happened as I turned away. But I could see something happen there. There's already an opener
Edson
to get things
is leading
underway.
1-0.
Ouch.
Against Diddy Crislito. I can tell you that Bashaw is winning again. 2-0.
See, I was skewed. 1-1. I told you it was coming.
I think we should go to the Dolomite game because that's big. I said that would be a case of the standard of Manu Bashaw, how he's playing. We already spoke to him. Spencer went down there a little bit earlier. He's with Levinken, of course, but this youngster who's come on the scene, he's now going up against, again, one of the great youngsters of the game, the German player who's, you know, got some great titles already to his name at such early on in his career. He jumped onto the scene, exploded onto the scene in FIFA 19, and Manu Bashaw is making light work of this at the moment, Mike.
And if there's one knock on Dolan Mike, I would say that he's a bit of a streaky player. When he's amazing and he's on, he's unstoppable, no doubt. One of the best in the world. But he doesn't always give you that, so it can be a little unpredictable as to what package you're going to get from Dolan Mike. And if you have him in an interview one-on-one, he's going to have a deeper voice than you. Unrelated, but still related.
Richard doesn't know how to follow that. He does have a deep voice, I will concur, but still. Game at hand then at the moment.
I'll be honest, I know there's a lot of FIFA left to be played, but unless Dylan Mike scores from this corner and completely eradicates what I'm about to complete my sentence with, which he very well could, Spinazzola inside the box. No, is it going to happen? Is that Mario Gomez at centre-back?
Not a likely choice, but this has also been
great save.
Part of the Dolan Mike DNA. He's always had some obscure choices, different formations, always looking to have his own players. We say men that play for the badge, but he's always had some unusual and unorthodox selections over the course of his competitive career.
Yeah, we just jumped out of that game when he was having a corner kick there. Mike's been mentioning that quite a lot. The set pieces, especially during the playoffs 10 days ago, were vital in creating some chances, creating some goals there. So we've seen a little bit of that, but not as much as we did back at the playoffs. And we saw so many penalties. Obviously, we won't see any penalties at this stage because we can go to a draw. As we get to knockouts, I'm sure we're going to see quite a few.
And speaking of a draw, we've got Gil and Tex 0-0. I wouldn't mind revisiting that because it was a very offensive 0-0. Chances were missed, goalkeepers were making saves, it was back and forth. Also, more risky attacks were being created or generated on cue. Here we are. As I said.
3 games currently in Group B, all 0-0. Jill versus Tex, Pina versus JRA, and Emre Yilmaz versus Oberon. All 0-0 as it currently stands in those groups. The only goal that has been scored is by Klenke, and he's doubled up 2-0 against Benny CR7.
Oh, beautiful build-up, the tiki-taka there. 1-0 for Jill. Might be a little bit against the run of play, but there's been opportunities being created. Opens up, easy lane, turn your body, across the body. Goalkeeper can't do anything about it. 1-0 for Gil. That shifts everything from the dynamic in this. And if there's ever a game to maybe get you off your struggle a little bit, get you off the bench, beat in Tex.
That's a massive turning point. We said earlier on when Tex got 4-2 over JRA Lion, was that the start of his World Cup campaign? He doesn't seem to be keeping that momentum in his favour, which is very unlike Tex.
Yeah, absolutely. And in one leg of FIFA as well, those missed chances will come back to haunt you. He had 2 huge opportunities. He hit the bar, and then I think he dragged one wide in the first half from what we saw. There might have been more chances as well when we were going around different games and around the grounds, but these opportunities you can't miss almost. Like in 2 legs, you'll have time will sort of play itself out, and the chances will fall for you again. The chances will come to you again. In one leg, Jill might hold this game out 1-0 now and take all 3 points.
This is where Tex will start kicking himself after those early chances, which he didn't convert, Mike.
And some of that's a little bit of just poor luck. Hitting the post, you can't always change that. However, I know that he'd love to have that opportunity that we saw with a couple cancellations inside the box, where it was almost too much time. And it looked like he overthought maybe the finish and just put it wide.
Yeah, well, we spoke about Dami quite a lot at the beginning of the show. Took that E-Premier League title with Norwich earlier on in the years from Poland. Thankfully, he's now getting a little bit of momentum in his game. 3-0 up over Webb Nazari, and you just need one of these games to be your turning point in the competition.
Well, coming into this game, he's bottom of the table. 1 point out of 9 so far. This is a guaranteed win. Webb Nazari won't turn this game around. Shocker, spoiler, apologies. And that will put Dami right back in there, about 5th on 4 points. He'll be behind Matthias Bonanno and Dullen Mike and the likes in the middle of the pack and looking to build after the break into those last 3 games where you would expect him to pick up maybe 6 more points potentially.
And all Dami needs then is a couple draws where there are points coming off the table while you're kind of gaining on your journey. And it's so interesting because we're just not used to this competitive structure, but it's a different approach to playing FIFA without a doubt in terms of how conservative or how aggressive you want to be as well.
We can just stick then on this game for a while. See if Webb Nazari can get, as Rich said at the moment, a bit of a consolation goal. He doesn't think he's going to turn this game around as we approach the 60-minute mark and get the 3 or 4 goals needed for a point of some sort here. So we'll just keep you updated on if Webb Nazari can get back in it in some form at all, Rich. But you've got a couple more results you want to talk about?
A couple more shout-outs.
Ooh, shout-outs. Hold your thought, Mike. We've got some shout-outs on the chat.
David from Colombia, who's rooting for Tex. We've got Thomas Martin from Scotland, who is rooting for Tex as well. A lot of support for Mr. Donovan in the chat. And Sebastian, with a Z, from Sweden, who is rooting for Oli Lito. Another one coming in from the chat. Shout out from Mike, the Improve 84. He says, watch you guys from Saudi Arabia. I'm an Englishman. Hopefully Tex wins the tournament.
Oh.
He deserves it. Let your shout outs be heard on the stream. Let me know in the chat who you think is going to be successful.
Yeah, I love hearing from the players, and especially when they're globally as well. Like literally watching in from all around the world, which is lovely to see that. Guys, thank you for watching. Keep watching. We'll obviously have a world champion on Sunday. Long way to go before that though, Mike.
No doubt about it. I'm just seeing we're in that kind of into the final 10, final 15 minutes of the majority of these matches. So it's kind of sitting there. Are you going to have a decider with these 0-0s? You got Matthias and Danny Pitbull. You also got Pina and JRA. JRA has been struggling. If he can nick a late game winner, again, changes the narrative completely for maybe his day that's been full of unfortunate results.
Well, we're back on the Tex matchup. There's a lot of support for him in the chat. Can he get back into this matchup? As we close in on the 80-minute mark here, only 10 minutes of in-game FIFA left. 1 leg. Remember, we're not going to a second leg. He'll get to replay this match tomorrow, but can he find something here? Jill unexpectedly possibly took a 1-0 lead a short while ago.
So many blue shirts in the box there. Tex, he was trying to cancel, trying to get his way out of there, but just couldn't find any exit in the end. And at the back post, I just heard a roar from over my corner. It's not going to be a goal for Jill, but I'm just trying to have a quick look at where that goal came from.
Yeah, I believe that was a JRA scoring, so the Spanish player scored a goal in his matchup, which we know he's such a player that loves to show his emotion there, so it was great.
Pina.
Great for him. That's the matchup I think that I just can't see the result from at the moment, so he's back in it against Pina at the moment.
We also got Klenke's been very definite with a 4-0 at the moment over Benny CR7. That's another one of those statement pieces and telling you you're kind of getting into that free flow. You're feeling confident and you're being able to convert. We're just not going to see too many matchups, at least not in a singular leg, that have 3, 4, 5 goals in them.
Yeah, well, this is kind of like the turning point, like we mentioned. Match number 4. We then get a little bit of a break, the players do, and that's a chance that if they're doing well to kind of try and keep that bars of energy going, and if the players aren't doing well, maybe it's a chance to look at that coaching tool and have a look and speak to your coaches and reassess. But a player like Diddy Chris can't do that, Rich. So what does he do in this moment when he's not possibly where he wants to be in terms of points at this stage in the competition?
Yeah, well, He's got a few features. I'm not too sure if he can record the gameplay on the tool and then watch it back himself. But he also probably, short-term memory, won't want to look back if he's suffering defeats. He'll know what he's done mentally. He'll know what he's done in the game that might have led to an error, and he'll know how to atone for that. He'll know how to improve going into the next games. Just having a quick look at Chris's game. He is winning currently against Edson. He found himself losing, and now he's turned that game around. So he'll be back in the winning position. Danny Pitbull and Matthias Banano, for anyone interested, 0-0 currently. As actually, I've just looked over my left shoulder, and he's
I heard the squad yell.
Late goal for Matthias Banano. I think it might be another 90th minute winner as Jill doubles his lead against Tex.
It doesn't look as any comeback for Tex in this one, Mike, which is a real shock, especially after his third round matchup, 4-2 over JRA. Ooh, 3-0. And that's even more surprising because Diogo was so confident in Tex's ability coming into this.
And I hope that we get to talk to Jill, maybe with Spencer afterwards.
Can we talk to Tex?
I'd like to hear from
maybe
Diogo.
both of them. I'd love to hear from everyone involved in this. But this is really important for Jill as well, because not only is he on the board, but he's making up some of that goal differentiation.
Yeah, that's a pretty unexpected scoreline there as the 88th minute has just clicked over. 3-0 to Gilles.
Well, he had to go for it, Tex. It's one of those games where in your mind you probably think that's a 1-0 defeat. However, in retrospect, it is going to be a 3-0 defeat for him. But mentally, you've just got to go for it. It's not two legs, it's a one-legged game. You've got to throw bodies forward. You have to go for it, and it could
I think he's on. I think he's on.
Be 4-0. Kante.
Whoa! Can I applaud? That was good. That was quality there, wasn't it? That really was quality.
It's very good.
Caught him on an offside step. Yep. It was mistimed. Maybe some frustration there from Tex as well. Those are defensive errors you wouldn't usually see made. And it is so strange for me to see Kante on the offensive end. It's brand new. He has a new foot item. And I can't get used to it.
Rich, was Gilles in the playoffs the player that said he had had a bit of an injury and hadn't been around for a while? I believe that's when Kyle spoke to him and said...
I think he did, yeah. I think Kyle brought that out of him in the interview. So, look, it's coming into this tournament. I know a few people around Gilles. I know a few people sort of in around Genk as well, and they were confident. They had a lot of sort of faith in Gilles to turn something out. And also, you've got a great sparring partner. You can play with Pini. You know you're going to match each other in the group, but constant repetition of games. 5 minutes remaining here between Emre Yilmaz and Oberon. And it looks like Emre Yilmaz is going to be playing for last attack in this game.
Oh, bit of an unforced error.
Yeah, well, Emre Yilmaz has been talking up his chances so far in the competition. One of that great team that's been churning out the talent factory, I think Spencer called it, in Team Hullet against Oberon there from Exceed. So we'll see if we can find a defining goal in that match so someone can get the 3 points there.
I feel like they need a name for the Team Hullet squad or the hub or whatever it may be. We've been trying to figure out what fits. I don't know if we found it quite yet, but just with the development, the signings, the acquisitions, and how they've performed as a group, it's got to be said. It's one of the most impressive, if not the most impressive, squads, arrangements, entanglements, whatever word you want to use.
Well, he even said, I think, didn't he, Manu Bashir, in his own words, said, we're one of the best orgs in the game at the moment, which, you know, for them to say that themselves is a statement. But let's jump back into, then, this game. 2 minutes left on the clock. Can anyone find something here to get those 3 points?
And I'm expecting Oberon here to hold the ball until close to the 90th and then push forward just to make sure that he has that final attack.
Yeah, we see that time and time again, don't we? Just trying to
He's got a chance,
keep
actually.
possession.
The extra pass could be on if he plays it. Offside. That'll probably be game over.
Yeah, 0-0 then. Emre Yilmaz in that game against Oberon there. They will share then a point each in that one. Klenke, then I just saw another 4-1 win for Klenke, who's been really exceeding expectations, possibly coming into this. We know he qualified last year for the World Cup, didn't play, so was really keen to get back out there this year, Rich.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we talked about Klenke off the top as well. He knows that he's good enough to compete. Maybe not being the person talked about the most, might not be the the favourite from the pundits or the fans, but he knows he's got game. He knows he can get through this group, and once you get into the knockouts, it's all about mindset. It's all about composure. And Klenke can do it. He can definitely compete.
Mike, in terms of who's stood out for you so far in the opening 4 matches?
I think between Klenke and also Oberon, excuse me. And what's great about this, it's not a popularity contest. You're able to dictate your future and each of these results. Whether you have a coach, you have no coach, you have fans, you have no fans, or somewhere in between. And that's something that's beautiful about competitive FIFA.
And Rich, who's really good at up their game in these 3 matches that are going to come after this short break?
Well, I think Dylan Mike.
Yeah.
He just lost 4-1 in the end against Manu Bashar. Got a couple of full-time results before we do go to this break. Didi Crislito beating Edson 2-1. Dami was 4-0 in the end in his result against Webb Nasri, and Mateus Bonanno won with the last kick of the game. 90th minute winner against Danny Pitbull. Currently puts him second in the table behind Manu Bashar. I also think, it might be harsh to say this, but I think Tex, 5 points out of 12, with the couple of the results that he's had, he's won 1, drawn 2, lost 1. You would expect more from him.
Yeah, you'd expect more from Tex for sure, and he would expect more from himself, I'm sure. We have 3 more matches to come. The players actually get about a 10-15 minute break right now. We don't go anywhere. We're staying with you, though, and Spencer is standing by now with a couple of familiar faces.
Yes, I am. Welcome to Spencer's Cutting Edge Journalism. This is my opportunity to talk and really dig deep and find out what's going on in the world of FIFA. I've handpicked my first guest here. He's come from the same place as me, the UK. He's one of 2 UK players here at this tournament. His name's Stingray, of course. 18 years old, in his 2nd competitive year, but your first FIFAe World Cup, because obviously there wasn't one last year. I sensed some frustration from you this morning in your session. You weren't too happy with how things went?
Nah, never going to be happy when you're not winning every game, but yeah, sometimes there was a couple of things that went wrong. So, you press the button, a few seconds later it then inputs, which obviously never ideal. So yeah, I've just got to get that out of my head for tomorrow, and then yeah, we go again.
High standards, I like it. You're keeping yourself to high standards. You're saying you're not happy unless you win all your games. And we've seen this year how good you've been. We know that's something you're capable of. So what do you change between now and tomorrow? Obviously, you've been sitting here checking out this session, seeing what everyone else is up to. But what's your approach going to be? Are you analysing your footage from earlier, or are you just keeping yourself calm and saying we go again?
So I'm going to keep myself calm, but I'm also going to change my play style. So
okay.
I feel like I was playing a bit too quick. I was giving the ball away in silly areas. I was losing it high up. Maybe not where I want it in their box, but around the edge of the box, which isn't ideal. And yeah, someone I'm trying to adapt to is Didi Chris. I like how he's playing at the moment.
Okay.
I think he's played really, really well.
So it's interesting because obviously we've got this single leg situation. Well, it is double leg, but it's 1 leg at a time. We play the next one the next day approach right now. And it seems to be that people are keeping the ball a little bit longer. With that slower approach you're talking about, it's working for them. So is this adaptation you're talking about implementing a result of the fact that you're playing these legs one at a time?
Yeah, 100%. If, maybe we clustered them together, maybe we put them together, I'd be able to play my own style. But I feel like having to adapt to this best-of-1 scenario is definitely what's going to put me through.
Because we've just seen Tex drop a game, obviously, there, against the man Gilles, who hadn't won before that. And we've had a lot of conversation about, with Tex, whether this format was going to work against him. Because watching Tex over the years, one thing that he's so great at is figuring players out in that first game. Maybe not necessarily winning that first leg, but then when it matters in the second leg, getting the scores, the goals that are going to make you win on aggregate. So he's had to adapt his game style. Is it something you've seen him struggle with a little bit so far?
Yeah, I mean, obviously losing 3-0 was a bit of a big statement from Giles as well. I feel like had he had that best of 2, he'd be able to slow the first leg down, then kind of break his opponent down in the second. But yeah, no, as you said, Tex is obviously very good at sussing his opponent out.
Who has impressed you the most today from what you've seen?
I said it earlier, I'll say it again, Didi Chris. I think he's been unbelievable.
Obviously, he's not in your group. He's in the afternoon session, and he's had 2 really good draws early on, didn't he? He went up against 2 of the most hotly tipped players, and you've been impressed with the way he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, his goal against Mateus Bonanno especially, that really impressed me. I feel like to beat Mateus like that in the box is something not everybody can do.
As a UK player, obviously, a lot of the conversation gets dominated by Tex. Is that something that you like and you are able to kind of creep under the radar a little bit, or would you rather people say, hang on, I'm Stingray, I've been doing bits these last few years, let's talk about me a bit more?
It's nice in a way as you can kind of, not have as much pressure on your shoulders, but it's always nice to have people talking about you, isn't it? So, hopefully, you know, I put a statement out here and people will be saying the same about me.
Well, you can do that tomorrow, can't you? You've got 7 games of group games left. You're outside that top 4 at the minute, so you need to win a decent amount of them, but everyone in the UK is rooting for you, of course. We believe in what you're capable of, so you just got to take that positive mental attitude into tomorrow and turn it around. Is that what you're going to do?
100%.
I believe him. Do you believe him? I believe him. Stingray, thank you very much. Go get yourself well, enjoy the last few games, of course, and then get yourself some rest, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, next up on Spencer's Cutting Edge Journalism, we're bringing in some Germans. You going this side? You going this side? We've got Umut. Are you going to start? Okay, and we've got Kay Corey, who both had fantastic early morning sessions, sitting 2nd and 3rd in that group that right now is being led by Olilito, who, spoiler alert, we're going to talk to later. But you got you two sitting next to each other down there. There's obviously a good relationship with the guys from Deutschland. What happens when you play each other?
Of course, when we play, it's like we don't care if we are friends or not. We play only the game, and only the game matters then. But after the game, of course, we say GG. If a shit goal happen, it's like this. So after the game, we are friends. Before the game, we are friends. But in the game, we don't know friends. So we are tryharding as always.
I watched the draw live. And then my name was chosen 2nd, and then 3rd was Umut. And I just took a picture and said, "Oh, Umut, we're in a group," and then.
It's one of them where if you both come out of the group, it's great because you get to play in the same group and everyone's happy. But obviously, if one of you doesn't or both of you don't, it's not so good. However, you're looking pretty good right now. You're both sitting up there. You particularly started fantastically. What happened midway through the day? It just dropped off a little bit.
I think I played still very good, but I deserved more points. It went a little bit unlucky against me, but it is what it is. Like I have to play like this tomorrow, and then I'm sure that I will go through.
Well, you both know if you do what you did today again, you're going to get through. It's as simple as that. I'm going to ask, because you know each other quite well, I'm going to ask you, Umut, to describe Kay Corey's game style. What's his best features? What is it that he does well in FIFA?
I think he's really, really good in the defense, and in the box he's one of the best. So he has like everything. He's not bad in the defense and really, really good in the offense. He's like both things. He's really good in defense and in offense, and I think in the box and his dribbling, left stick dribbling, is like one of the best. So I think that makes him so special.
And same question to you about Umut.
I could just say the same. Umut's composure is amazing. Like he's dribbling so slow and he's turning around like a Beyblade, like you can't defend him. And his defense also amazing.
Right, I'm going to do something very controversial here. It's what I do, yeah. It's my job to end friendships, okay? Umut, who's better, you or Kay Corey?
Corey.
Oh, okay, he's a nice guy. What are you going to say?
I have to say Umut.
Yeah, he made it easy for you. He made it easy for you. Look, I like to see this. These guys are obviously having fun. They're going to play some games tomorrow that, like they say, you have to park that friendship temporarily. But there's a very good chance both these lads could go through, sitting 2nd and 3rd right now. Only Olilito ahead of them, and that's the man I'm going to speak to next. So, lads, best of luck tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you in the morning. I'll take that mic.
See you tomorrow.
Well done, boys.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, next up we have Olilito, the man who's on fire right now. Is the secret to your success paddle? We played paddle last night, if you don't know. I mentioned it earlier. We did doubles. We don't need to talk about the result. That's not what paddle's about. It's about taking part.
Are you sure?
Yeah, unless I win. Then it's about winning. But you're a good player. You're decent. Good serve. Very good serve. How much do you play?
Like a funny thing, first of all, is that I'm often playing with Boris, who you may know.
Yes.
I mean, me and him are playing like maybe twice a week, I would say.
Okay, you're a partnership.
Yeah, so we're playing together a lot, spending a lot of time outside of the court as well, you know, practicing FIFA, doing that kind of stuff. So, I mean, yeah, me and him play, I would say twice, maybe 3 times a week.
This is a fantastic story. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you at home will already know this, but obviously we talked about Boris there, Ivan Lapagna, Boris legend. He gets his name from the place where he's from in Sweden, Boris, which is actually where Olilito is from as well. Boris isn't a massive place though, is it?
It's like 100k people in total.
100,000. So the fact that you've got 2 of the best FIFA players, dare I say, of all time, certainly 2 massive names in the scene from the same town, is quite coincidental. I mean, we spoke about it a little bit yesterday. Do you think that the sort of the path that Boris trod before you, it inspired you?
For sure, and I mean, as we were talking about yesterday, it's almost exactly 4 years ago. I attended the World Cup for the first time as a guest, and then Boris was playing, you know. So I mean, it's amazing, you know, seeing this storyline unfold a bit. Like me being here 4 years later, playing myself. So I mean, he has been a very, very big part of my success and my career, and yeah, I need to thank him for everything, basically.
Just a great member of the scene, you know. He does so much. Someone I know very well as well. He played a hashtag with us. But let's talk about you. Let's talk about what you've been doing so far. You're looking very good. You're looking very strong. And even though you've been a very prominent name in the scene for the last few years, your lead up into this event, people were kind of starting to underestimate you a little bit. You kind of squeezed through playoffs a little bit, but it's worked for you. And at the end of the day, you know, if you turn up when it matters, that is all that matters. And it seems like you're turning up.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually one thing that Boris always telling me. I think he's told me that many times, that I'm one of the few guys that he knows that really turning up when it matters. And I think I'm showing that today and hopefully tomorrow as well. So I think that no one really has except like the best. So I think that makes me special in one way. But I've been playing good today, and we can just hope for the better tomorrow.
Because that's always been a massive question of, I mean, you've been around the scene since before COVID, but it was during the pandemic where you really started to, people had to step up and take attention because you were winning a lot of online events.
Yep.
Similar to Levi David, who had a really breakout year as well. And the question has always been, can these guys come and do it at LAN events? Can they come and win a big trophy like the trophies that are up for grabs in the next 3 weeks, which, by the way, I haven't mentioned. Ollie's going to be taking part in all 3 of the next 3 weeks. I mean, how amazing an opportunity is it for you? And what is your target for the next 3 weeks? Like, are we looking at taking 1 home, taking 2 home? Or are you actually saying, I want to take all 3?
I see my coach pointing too, and I think that's because he wants to win the E-Nations with the Netherlands, of course, and I'm representing Sweden. But I mean, I'm always that guy. When I come into a competition, I want to win. So I mean, I would say all 3, but we will take, as I said yesterday as well, 1 game at a time. I think it's the most important thing, and we'll see how far we go.
Now, there's a lot of good players here, as we know. You've got to be sensational to get here. The qualification process is tough. So everyone that's made it, you know, my hat's off to them. However, right now, people are talking about you after today as someone that is a potential winner. Who are you looking at? Not just from before today, but after the games you've seen. Who do you have your eye on to think, oh, I don't want them in the final?
To be honest, I wouldn't say anyone really. The only players that I don't really want to face is like Levi, because he's my teammate, you know.
Yep. But then we're going to get your coach in a minute. But from a Team Hullet perspective there, it's a dream final because you've got a guaranteed winner. But I understand exactly what you're saying, because you don't want to beat him in the final. But it's better to beat him in the final than the semi-final.
Exactly right. So I just hope that we don't face each other early, and all of the other Team Hullet boys playing now in the background. So I'm just hoping for not a Team Hullet clash, and hopefully I can go as far as possible.
You've got to be prepared to beat anyone, as you know, if you're going to win, and I'm sure you are. You mentioned your coach Renzo. We're going to get him in here. I want to keep you in, Ollie, as well. Jump in here next to me, if you don't mind, please, Renzo.
No worries.
This is something that I have wanted to do for a long time. I need to find and pin someone down from Team Hullet and interrogate them and say, what is it you guys are doing in this factory of FIFA talent? Because it's been probably 2, maybe 3 years now where you guys, for me, have been the dominant team in terms of producing amazing players. What's your secret?
I think the secret is that we care about our players to every single aspect. This comes down to them even performing in school, performing on the game. I think even like their diets. I'm looking at Ole, and like I know he only likes sushi, but when he comes to us, he needs to try different stuff as well, you know. So, and it's just and really bonding with the players. I mean, for like 4 years ago actually now, I met Levi at the first time, and now he's pretty much like my little brother, and almost even some would say my son, almost. His dad even would admit that he's here right now. And the same goes with Manuel. I also like get to know him back then. And same thing with Ole. We were just talking about it. Like 4 years ago, I matched him. Then we had a chat after the game because we were actually playing against each other. And since then on, been in touch with him, in touch with Team Hullet. And when we started when he started playing and I started coaching him, it was just natural connection.
Talk to us about the Hullet connection, though. Obviously, it's such a great. I remember when Team Hullet was announced, I was so excited by it because it's such a natural fit. Obviously, we have many footballers in the space now, which is fantastic. But Ruud Gullit is someone who has reinvented himself through FIFA. You know, there's a whole generation of people that aren't old enough, literally, to have watched him play, but they know him as one of the best players of all time because of how good he is in FIFA. How is the relationship with Ruud Gullit, and how is it, you know, does it help you when it comes to attracting players, especially from the Netherlands?
I mean, of course it does help. I mean, it's a big player, and especially when the younger kids, they usually, because we sign people when they're sometimes 14, 15, especially the Dutch players, they tell their dad, I can play for Team Gullit. And then the dads are always like, oh, wait. But obviously, like, the bond is really good because Ruud, actually, I can call him Ruud, I guess, but he really he really does care about the players. Like, sometimes, I think even like when we qualified for World Cup, he sent like a video message to the players, and he doesn't like get to the HQ too often, but he cares about the team really well. And yeah, we just try to perform as good as he was as a footballer.
Yeah, and which is high standards, of course. Is it 4 players connected with Team Gullit you've got at this event?
I'd say 4.
4.
There's
other relationships and things, but
there's a relationship going on with the Belgians as well as the guy from Atlanta. So
because people are seeing what's happening at Team Gullit and they're going, how do I get some of the secret sauce, guys? But listen, it's amazing. It's amazing. I don't think we can stress it enough how impressive it is to have such a stable of players. You know, players that. And many of them with no real reputation before they joined Team Gullit, and they're growing in experience and maturing. And we're seeing these performances, not just for Ollie, Levi David having a fantastic day himself, just losing that last game, but other than that, was unbeaten up until then. So it's obviously still to play for, but you've got to have your eyes after today on, you know, getting players not just out of the group, but all the way.
I mean, I kind of said the same, I guess, as Ole. Like, I want to take home 2 trophies, and the World Cup, because we have so many horses to bet on.
Yeah,
it does feel like we could get it, but obviously, Levi and Manuel, probably like crazy amount of talent, and they're showing it right now. Obviously, when we get to the knockout stages, you have to have your greatest game at all time, and that will be tough for them because they're just young. But also, we have Olelito, the experienced guy, and yeah, I think he can do it. So.
You're covering your bases. I like it. I've got a difficult question for you now.
Ooh.
Right. Well, you're in a meeting in Team Gullit headquarters, and someone comes in and says, we can only win one of the 3 trophies. Which one do we want to win? Is it an individual winning the FEWC right here, right now? Is it next week, the E-Club World Cup, or is it an E-Nations win, which I know is a Team Gullit, but it's the similar players, you know, it's obviously Netherlands.
I mean, World Cup, just the FIFAe World Cup.
The big one.
Yeah. I mean, the 2v2, kind of, the E-Nations one does come closer, I think, because that's like Manu and Levi, which I know like for 4 years, and if that connection does end up being the best in the team, or the best in the world, I should say, that would be kind of a dream from them to come true. But then again, no real other choice than the World Cup, because E-Club as well, Ole and Levi.
Yeah.
It would be all good, but then the World Cup for sure.
It's a good choice, and listen, you can't go wrong. But they could win all 3. There could genuinely be winners associated with Team Gullit across all 3. It's going to be tough, but if any team's capable of it right now, you'd have to say it's those guys. Renzo, Ollie, thank you very much for joining us. Guys, we're going to take a quick break now. We'll be back in 3 minutes for, guess what? More FIFA action. Don't go anywhere.
I'm coming to Copenhagen to win. Winning the World Cup is my biggest dream. That's all I've been focused on for the last couple of years. If I come second, I'll be annoyed. If I come third, fourth, fifth, sixth, I'll be annoyed. I think I'm the best player in the world. Throughout the last 4 FIFAs, I've definitely been the best. If everyone plays their best, I'm definitely number 1. So I've got a unique play style where I can press high, I can defend in the box. But I can sort of do it all when I'm playing well. That's why I'm the best. FIFA 22, it's my time to finally win it.
welcome back then here on our second session on day one, when we are looking at groups B and D. Of course, welcome back. We had a quick break there when Spencer got into some of the nitty-gritty within the teams and the owners and the coaches. It's so great to hear them. We actually have a coach. If you cast your eye over Mike Labelle there, we have Cal from South Gaming joining us in our private booth here in the FIFA nightclub that Mike Labelle has been calling it. You must feel very privileged to be joined.
Oh,
very
much so. Yeah, no, cheers for having us. It's,
Cal, let's just talk about like how your day has gone so far. Obviously here with Stingray this time out. Mixed emotions at the moment?
Very much so. I think, you know, I think Sting's probably a little bit disappointed, if I'm being honest with you, but obviously we've worked with him now for the best part of a year and a half, and we know he's got another gear. So I think if he can find that for tomorrow, I'm still fairly confident we'll be through to Saturday. So,
Rich, you were bigging up Sting's chances, weren't you, at the beginning of this day?
I was, and I spoke to him just behind us. He came for the afternoon session. What do you think went wrong? Do you think it was just as simple as a case of the one leg didn't suit him?
yeah, I think, you know, across the season we've mainly been playing two legs, haven't we? And he's very much a two-leg player. I think the one-leg format hasn't suited him, but I think as we went through the day, he's adjusting to it, and his results seem to be getting better and better. So, looking forward to tomorrow. He's obviously going to go away, and he's going to be practicing as much as he can. So, yeah, fingers crossed, really.
I'm glowing because he's like, earlier on, he said the one leg would be very well suited for Stingray.
I thought he would.
I'm just listening here.
Yeah,
I didn't have you as the first option here. Now you're the second option. Now I know the truth over here. Yeah. So what adjustments have been made then going into day two? Because this is kind of where all the deciders are going to happen.
So I think already he's looking to make a couple of small adjustments to his team. He's talking a little bit about how he's been too quick on the build-up, and I don't know whether it's maybe the event, but he's looking maybe to slow things down a little bit more. There's a couple of opportunities that he missed, and it might just be that he's sort of snatched it a little bit. So slow things down a little bit, mix things up with the team. But, yeah, I think he's quite confident going to day two anyway.
I mean, you're talking a language we've been speaking up here. A lot of players seem to be rushing their approaches here, making a bit of silly mistakes, and it being down to only one leg of FIFA. So, obviously, we go again tomorrow in terms of it's just rinse and repeat from today. How much can yourself and the coach and the whole setup here really help by using that coaching tool we've been seeing as well?
Yeah, I mean, the coaching tool's pretty cool. So Zach, he's our main coach for what's been happening. And, you know, he's using the iPad and he's going through bits. But actually, we've worked with Sting for so long now. Sting knows most of what he's doing and what he's not doing. So it's more just sort of highlighting little bits to him every now and again. It's the 1%, isn't it, more than anything that can make the difference.
And generally speaking here, because we've been debating it for the entirety of the day, who do you think's been maybe the most impressive that you've seen thus far, or maybe a big surprise?
Yeah, I think so. Young from SQPR, he has been phenomenal. And I was speaking with the Dire Wolves coach behind the scenes, and he said he's one to watch coming into this. So you sort of hear rumours, but when you actually see him playing, you know, he beat Sting, and it was the one game where I thought Sting didn't deserve to get anything from it. So, yeah, very good player. I know he's looking to move to Europe next year as well, so it's going to be interesting to see what he does. Almost following the path of Bonanno. He's obviously done that before, and he's done very well this season. So I think definitely one to watch, you know.
As an owner, do you look at emerging talents as well, Cal?
100%, yeah,
Would you take someone from South America like Young?
It would be, yeah, we would. It's something we would look at. I mean, we've looked at talent from around the world. So this year we've got a player in South Africa, for example. So it's something that we wouldn't say no to, but, you know, the reality is that the position we're in, we prefer to try and find young, up-and-coming talent, whereas, you know, players that are making this stage, they might be looking for, I'll be honest, a bit more money than what perhaps we can offer as such.
I want to just get your quick opinion. Group D,
yeah,
we've been watching the action.
Yeah.
A player that you know quite well, he were at the Premier League, Dami.
Yeah.
Not been going to plan so far for him.
No, it's not. I thought he was going to do all right because...
I think we all did. I think everyone did.
I mean, E-Premier League, he absolutely just tidied up, you know. And I'm sure Goal Poacher wouldn't mind me saying this live on air. He did kind of carry him a little bit, David, to the final,
you know.
It as well, don't worry. It's nothing new then, it's nothing new. So,
he said he carried 2 controllers.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Rich was looking at me, I think that's what he wanted to say.
No, it wasn't. Goal Poacher, I love you. Shout out.
That went deep. That cut deep, Mike Labelle. Sorry, Cal.
Yeah. We're all friends here.
It's all good. It's all good. But that 3-5-2 he's playing, I think now that players know about it, it's not quite as effective. So, But I think with Damien, you never know. And obviously, we've got 7 games to come tomorrow, so who knows?
And, I was going to say, a word on Tex. Hasn't been playing the Tex that we possibly thought he'd be playing.
We've seen flashes of it, I think. His left stick dribbling, sometimes you look at it and go, wow, you know, this is something really special. But I think the result against Giles, that was a surprising one.
We can just see this game that Tex is now undertaking against Pinner then. So he's got the lead at the moment. This is obviously a great start. He had that 4-2 over JRA. Didn't go to plan against Gilles a little bit earlier on. Was it 4-0 in the end in the Gilles one?
It was, yeah.
4-0. I mean, again, great for Gilles, bouncing back there for Genk. But yeah, Tex hasn't quite gone into 5th gear yet, has he, Cal?
No, I don't think he has. But I say this, like, I really rate Pina. He's obviously been around the scene for a little while. He's an amazing player. And he's 1-0 up at the moment, so he's obviously doing the business. I still think he's going to make it. He's got that class, you know. Even when he's having a bad day, he is still one of the best players in the world.
We talked about group of death. We talked about the toughest group. At the minute, it is Group B, statistically. From top to bottom, it's 5 points. From first to last, there's 5 points that separate it. Oberon is top at the moment, and Gilles is bottom on 3. So anything can happen in this group. Everyone's beating everybody. And I think this is just another example of it. Pina, who you'd probably come into this game and say, over his 4 games, he's won 2, drawn 1, lost 1. Tex is struggling by his own standards, and he's taking points off him.
Yeah, exactly. We can stay on this game at the moment and see if anyone can get a second goal in this to really kind of give themselves an opening here and a more comfortable lead. But with, 17 minutes just ticked over on the clock, and we've got a pause in the match, Mike.
And we talk about it a little bit, but something that's so interesting with FIFA is that not only is it so cruel, and we talked about even rushing your gameplay or slowing it down, everything has to be with a certain rhythm, both offensively and defensively. And what we've seen is players giving us, and the ones that are succeeding, the complete package, while other guys have been maybe missing one piece of that build-up or one piece of the defensive movement or even seeing out a game. Game management has came into play. We've seen so many late goals up to this point.
When you were watching those games, you were in the booth, actually. Firstly, what was it like being in the booth? Is that the first time you've been directly behind?
Wait, hold on. Does it feel more like a first-class flight or a superistic club? Super futuristic club.
It's like a
bit of both.
Or neither.
Let's go business class. I've got first class. I've got business class. Well, you know, there's always room for improvement in there. So, you know.
What was it like being in there, though? Like behind Sting?
It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. It is an experience. So this is, obviously, I've attended LAN events. I don't normally sit behind my own players. I actually get too nervous of all things. So I sit there in fear of what's going to happen. But, yeah, it's a hell of an experience. Like, the venue is incredible, isn't it? You know, it is. I've not seen a venue like this with a FIFA before. It is stunning. So it is great being here.
And Cal, do you give an input to Stingray, or do you kind of leave
that
to your
he probably ignores it, you know. Let's be
just
real.
getting tweets lined up
I've
with the
got a coach
results.
for that, you know. So, no, that's what Zach's for, much more than anything. So, if anything, I try and provide a little bit of emotional support where I can. But that's the limitations of my expertise.
And while we have you here, we usually don't get the owners or people that are with organizations or clubs. When you're looking at recruiting talent and you're putting together this collective, what goes into that in terms of maybe characteristics? Because players always ask me, how do I get signed for this? How do I get involved here? It's probably, you probably even get that more than I do.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, you could probably give more of a list as to exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, of course. I think there's a bit of a mixture. I'm not going to tell you all of our secrets, like all the spreadsheets that we've got on players. But,
what if I take you for dinner?
Yeah, well, maybe then. Maybe
you would take people for
I will take everyone for dinner and give me the insider scoop.
Yeah, this is recorded, right? But I think one of the things that we really look for is pros playing other pros. So a lot of people say, I get this in weekend league. People say, I got 19 wins, 20 wins in weekend league. Well, actually, that doesn't mean anything because it doesn't mean you've played anyone decent. So what we look for is pros that are consistently beating other pros. And normally, like, if you speak to another pro, you say, who's good? Well, a lot of the time, they'll just recommend someone that they quite like or get along with quite well. We actually find by asking people, who don't you want to play? Like, you'll get a better answer because the people that they're trying to avoid playing tend to be players that they lose to, because no pro likes losing, do they? And so we then look at that. We look at the content side of things because I think that's important, especially with things like partnerships and bits and pieces. And then we, then take into account things like potential as well. So there's a range of factors, there really is. But I think for anyone that's looking to get into FIFA esports, the key thing is you want to be playing these top-level pros week in, week out, some of the smaller tournaments that are going about, and just proving yourself within the scene.
Get your name out there.
Yeah, exactly that, exactly that.
Yeah, exactly. Taking opportunities as they come. Well, an opportunity possibly going missed at the moment is in that Tex and Pinner game. Pinner has now equalised after 81 minutes. Tex is really not having a good day at the office in terms of his standards.
Oh, you can't do that. All the way inside your Shada.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
That was...
That's gorgeous. Quick footwork, a little, again, with the La Croqueta and then the extra pass. And you see Sonaldo in action, another player that hasn't made many appearances.
It's a mistake at the back, though. He gave him the ball inside his own 6-yard box, and that's very un-Tex-like.
Tensing up as we approach the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to try and make a Tex pun, but...
Tex is getting tense. Hashtag.
Texing up? No.
He loves us talking about it now. He said that in the opening chat with Spencer, so I'm allowed to say things good or bad. I'm never saying that much bad stuff, obviously.
That sounds like you're like sending a message and throwing your phone.
Hashtag.
Got a message.
No, but it's just not been a great day. He really needs to reset. Diogo needs to find something there to change things around as we approach only 2 games left in this day.
Well, it's also worth mentioning, you're saying it's not a great day, but he's still right in the mix. He's in the conversation.
Oh, definitely.
He hasn't been eliminated, and I have to look at the final games and score lines, but he might still be sitting around 4th place at the moment.
So I'm just looking at a couple of these games. Emre Yilmaz with a very comfortable victory against Jill, 4-0 as it currently stands.
Wow.
JRA beating Benny CR7, 2-1. And we can jump over to Group D very shortly because a little bit of an upset, you would say. Webb Nasri and Manu Bashar 1-1 currently in this group. Manu Bashar was the man to beat, unbeaten in this group, and he currently finds himself drawing against Webb Nasri, who is, as it stands, bottom of the table. Second versus bottom. Manu Bashar was overtaken by Matthias Bonanno.
But he's got some good results, actually. Got that result against Diddy Chris.
Yep.
Now he's getting a draw against Bashar. They're not bad, bad kind of results considering the names in his group.
No, they're not, but he's been drawn in the group. Like, you've got to beat somebody if you want to get out. Like,
he did, didn't he?
No, he did, but one win's not going to be enough, I don't think. This is a massive result because we said earlier, you want to take points away from people around you, most importantly, but if you can get points, even draws against the 1-2, you can start to build a little bit of a comeback. What, we've got 5 minutes left in this game. There could be a winner in this as well for Webb Nasri.
And perhaps the most impressive result from these fixtures, maybe the 3-0, very defining when you're looking at Diddy Crislito versus Dami.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've spoken about Dami not having the best day, and Diddy had a bit of a shaky start there. He got 2 draws early on to Dylan Mike and then to Matthias Bonanno as well, I think it was, in that second game. Draws in both those games. 3-0 here. He obviously got a loss to Webb Nasri as well. So in his standards, again, free agent there, no one on his team. He's doing it the hard way, some would say.
Maybe he's joining staff.
Maybe he's joining.
Yeah, we wish.
But coming,
dangerous.
Yeah, coming to the end of this match then on screen, Webb Nasri and Manu Bashar. Manu Bashar has been pretty strong so far. Spencer caught up with him earlier and he said he's in this kind of talent machine of Team Hullet here and getting some great results. He hadn't conceded a game after 4 matches.
No, he's not. He has conceded now, though. He's conceded against Webb Nasri, a point apiece, and you see Manu Bashar looks very sort of dejected there with that result. Lev Vinken's shaking the head as well, but a point apiece is what will happen in that group. It will take Webb Nasri off the bottom of the table, and with Edson drawing against Danny Pitbull, as it currently stands, 1-1, I think it'll put Webb Nasri up into 6th, with Dami dropping down to the foot of the table.
Yeah, well, Diddy Chris then got a result in that round, and so did Matthias Bonanno against Dylan Mike. Again, we said Dylan Mike has been slightly off the boil in terms of what he expects of himself. To go 1-0 down against your mates here, Rich, impressed with how he's been playing?
Who, Matthias or Dylan Mike?
He's the one that got the result, so I guess you'd be impressed with him.
He's won his last 2 games 1-0. I think this is what you probably expected from Dylan Mike. It was a 1-0 win in this round, a 90th minute 1-0 win in the last round, and a 90th minute 3-2 win in round number 3. He's leaving it late, but he's getting the job done. Is Matthias Bonanno, as you can see the tables on the screen right there. Not currently fully up to date, but I might be able to fill in the gaps.
Yes, please, with your iPad.
Yes, Matthias Bonanno, top of the table. 11 points. Manu Bashar will go over him on goal difference with that draw. That will put him onto 11 as well, but with a superior goal difference of +4. Diddy Chris Lito up into 3rd on 8 points. Danny Pitbull, 7 points. JRA has just won the game late on. 90th minute winner will come to Group B.
Group B is looking crazy.
Come to Group B in a second. Edson, 4 points. Dolan Mike, 5 points. Dami, 5 points. And Webb Nasri with that point. Still at the foot of the table on goal difference with Dami. Going over to Group B, we have
this read off.
JRA, who's just beaten Benny CR7. So as it stands, Oberon drew 1-1 against Klenke. That will keep him first in the table, I should say. Klenke, Oberon, Pina, all in around 9 points and 8 points at the top of the table. Emre Yilmaz on 8 points. Tex on 6, just on the cusp of the bubble of going through currently. Benny CR7 on 4, but JRA with that victory will go to 6 points as well. So JRA jumps up to 6th currently on 6 points as well. And Jill did suffer a defeat 4-0 against Emre Yilmaz. So you've got 9, 9, 8, 8, 6, 6, 4.
Wow. Richard Buckley, appreciation there for going through all those results and doing the maths right there on the spot. Yes, this guy knows what he's talking about. Rich, take a breath and we'll go back over to Cal and see what he makes of the table after 5 matches.
I mean, Group B, wow. I mean, there's, what was it, 4 points, was it? Between first and... I'm going to get you to go through it again. But it's so tight, and I think anyone there potentially could still go through. So, and we've still got 2 games left tonight. So these 2 games, they're going to be massive games. Obviously, we've got 7 more tomorrow, but, sensational.
Well, the way that's setting up, you're not going to have any qualifications or eliminations after day 1. And what I mean by that is like your hopes and dreams, nothing has been settled. You have a bad day, you're definitely going home regardless where you finish. And if you had a poor opener, you could have a fantastic secondary performance and get yourself back into it.
Well, we know in Group C, Oilito and Umut pretty much through. Group A, you're probably looking at Levy and Young, maybe even Paolo Neto on the cusp on 12 points. Sorry, because you probably don't want to hear that.
No, not really, if I'm honest with you.
He's probably right there.
Say something else nice.
On the cusp of going through as well. Group B, we might come down to, it might be a last round decider, in all honesty, to get multiple spots. Not just 4th, which we expected, but we might be looking at goal difference, head-to-head, goals scored to go through in Group B.
Yeah, possibly loads of permutations, obviously, as we approach the end of these groups. Cal, before we let you go, though, because we know we've taken up quite a lot of your time this evening, what's the process now for you and Stingray and Zach? What do you do between now and tomorrow?
Well, we make sure to send them to bed quite early.
Have you got a curfew on
we'll have to tonight, I think. We'll have to. But, yeah, I think we just need to try and keep as relaxed as possible going into tomorrow. And I think the main thing is trying to make sure that we get the very best out of him. We don't want him going into any games uptight and nervous about things. So I think Sting has had a bit of a breakout season this year. So I don't think there's the pressure of, say, Tex on him. You know, I don't think people expect him to come to the World Cup and necessarily win it. We actually think that on his day, he could win it. He is that good. But, you know, we're not putting that pressure on him. We just want him to come out, play his game and, you know, enjoy it for what it is, you know, 'cause it's a great experience.
Yeah, exactly. Well, good luck, Cal.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For tomorrow, thank you so much for joining us up here and giving us that insight. It was fascinating as well. I loved Mike's question there, what it takes for you to recruit someone. I love to hear that, and I'm sure loads of people at home will be really interested in hearing that as well. Well, let's just confirm that group which we're talking about. Group B is now possibly the toughest to get out of. Look at that. So we can just reaffirm what we said a bit earlier when Richard was trying to do all those maths on the fly, Rich. Oberon, Klenke, Pinner, Emre Yilmazen, 9-9-8-8. I mean, what a start for those 4 players. And then the guys that are currently dropping out of that automatic qualification, Tex, JRA, Benny CR7 and his team, not a teammate, sorry, that's Pinner and Gilles.
Tex got eliminated in 2019, if memory serves me correct, through goal difference in the group standings. He'll not want a similar story again in those groups. He knows that points are essential right now. I'm just going to have a quick look ahead to Group B, the next game, Tex against Emre Yilmaz. We've got to keep an eye on that game because it could potentially be a big point swing. with players at the top and that middle of the pack, those couple of sort of players at the top of the table will find it very hard to pull away. They have to get points.
Yeah, exactly. We're really coming to penultimate end then of day one. 2 more rounds to go to really decide between us as well who's looking pretty heading into day 2.
I got a question for Richard.
Oh, I'm going to sit back here. I feel like
I have a big smile.
shots are going to be fired.
He's going to like this. No shots being fired. So obviously you're part of the Matias Benano fan club. He's been learning Spanish, which I really respect. So you can be closer in their relationship.
That doesn't mean you've learned Spanish waving at me.
He gave a nod to the... So, more seriously, if Matias Benano were to, and I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, were to win the FIFAe World Cup, and he still has 2 events left. We've already had the Team of the Season Cup. We've seen him in the E-La Liga, maybe not his best in that. We've seen him as a runner-up in E-Champions League. Is this one of the greatest, if not the greatest seasons we've seen from an individual, if he were to win the FIFAe World Cup?
I actually think it's 2 seasons, because he dominated South America last year. He won the CONMEBOL Libertadores. I think he won 3 out of the 5 qualifiers in South America as well. He, for the last 2 years, has dominated the FIFA scene. Unfortunately, obviously, last year there was no sort of E-World Cup that took place. He didn't actually qualify for the E-World Cup in South America. That was maybe the only blip on his record, the only blotch on it. But greatest season ever? Yes, I certainly think so. And if he goes...
Oh, you're building the trifecta.
If he...
Here he is.
You asked for his opinion, though. What do you expect?
To win the Club World Cup with Team Heretics.
Might be here all night.
Argentina with Nicolas and Iago.
No, if he wins all 3, he's got a greatest season ever.
Yeah.
Greatest player ever.
Ooh.
We just rip up the rest of FIFA going forward and just say
I'll do a deal, actually. I'll do a deal.
Uh-oh, what's the deal?
Matias Benano.
Let's pause on this. Let's go to the text game and Rich can think about his answer.
I hope that we're... I want to know what he's like putting out there.
In this matchup. He's got a crucial
You'll
game.
never know.
Emre Yilmaz.
Oh, come on, Rachel. He's about to lose his eyebrows over here.
Look, action on screen. Emre Yilmaz and Tex. This is a crucial matchup. Talking about one of the best in the game, we're witnessing it here.
Oh, yeah, we are. And, could be in on goal, actually. A couple of ball rolls past Emre Yilmaz. Scoop to inside. Fake shot down the line. Great finish.
That's so well done. That fake shot, it takes a risk with the reward when he splits the defenders here. Mbappe opens up a lane. And again, to go across the body there, full power. Alisson can't do anything with it. I thought that he might have blown the opportunity. Took a second there looking for a recycle, but then gives you that just moment of brilliance that we always compliment Tex for being able to put together on the biggest of stages. And it's a great rebuttal for him because he has been struggling.
He always seems to find space in sort of the most unpredictable and dangerous areas. He somehow manages to find room in crowded spaces, in crowded boxes, especially inside the penalty area. And a big goal for Tex inside the opening 15 minutes here, looking to double up down this right-hand side. Jude Bellingham losing out on possession and potentially a counter-attack coming to fruition here for Emre Yilmaz.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just see if a chance can be made here as well. Tex currently in control of this matchup.
And it's still relatively early, 20 minutes here, still anyone's game. And we've seen Tex not be able to hold on to leads and also already make comebacks today as well. And that's just, again, a lot of credit to the caliber of talent here, that the best of the best are struggling to get those points and that every point means so much.
Yeah, every point at this stage with 2 more games means a lot. So let's see if he can get 3 points from this one, Tex.
I'm just having a quick look at the number of the other games currently taking place. Just seen the penalty being wrapped in by Manu Bashort, Emre Yilmaz's teammate. That's against Dami, currently 1 apiece in that particular game. Points needed on the board for Dami. Emre Yilmaz with a big chance, shoots directly at the goalkeeper. And interesting that Van der Sar is in goal. If you watched a lot of Texas FIFA over the last couple of years, it's typically always been Peter Schmeichel in goal. Now Van der Sar is the goalkeeper of choice at the back there as the player gets switched from right to left. Cancelo picking up the ball and Pele released down this right right-hand side.
And sometimes I also feel with Tex in particular, because our expectations are so high, no matter how he plays, unless it's perfect, people will be so critical of what he creates, how he creates, opportunities converted, opportunities missed, and everything else that's in between.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here we go. We're still kind of early doors in this matchup. This is a penultimate matchup against round 6. So Tex really needs to get a few more points here. Currently sitting in that bottom half of the graphic. Yeah, so here we go. Let's just keep on this one, and Mike can bring us a couple of results as he's seeing them come in as well around the grounds. Can we say around the grounds, around the studio?
Send it my way.
Around the booth.
So I think maybe the big surprise result at the moment, and fair play, Stefano Pino went down 2-0, or has gone down 2-0 now to Benny CR7. He started the day really well, and I feel like he's been just starting to trail off a little bit with Pino, which is not what you want to see. You've got 0-0, pretty defensive dispute between Danny Pitbull and Diddy Crislito. You also have a 1-all, just had the equalizer from Edson on a corner kick, scoring on that near post. Of course, you've got this matchup here with Tex being up 1-0. Hasn't been full of a lot of opportunities, and then you have a couple of those 0-0, no openers yet between JRA and Obrun, which could be huge for JRA. He just had that late game winner, which always helps the confidence and the momentum. Oof, nearly an opener there. And then you have Klenke and Gil both scoreless at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of different results going on around the studio in the pods here. Well, yeah, still a lot of time though to go. We haven't quite approached half-time in a lot of these matches, so there's still a chance to turn things around as we approach this one, the JRA one. We heard the scream from the passionate Spanish player a little bit early on to get 3 points and really take him off the bottom and kickstart his campaign, Rich.
Yeah, he certainly did. Finds himself currently in 6th in this chock-a-block group of Group B, and up against Obrun, who's leading, but not leading by much at the moment. It's really tight and contested in this Group B currently, but JRA left it late. He knows he can score late. He knows he can do the job when he needs to in these matches. And if the rest of the games, as Mike said, are drawing, one win could catapult you up that table with points being dropped across the board.
And JRA is looking to be very technical when you're talking about his build-up play. He's not usually someone that gives you flourishing amounts of opportunities, but when he gets inside the box, he's going to score, and you're going to see some more of those details. Maybe he has that Spanish move and groove, that tiki-taka, the skills that definitely can open up some space. And it's always been part of his game now for again, nearly a decade he's been competing.
I know, that's what I was talking about, wasn't it? 10 years even in the scene. In 2018, he had heartbreak, didn't make it this way, but he's here now. And someone else is here now, joining us. Is Case over on the other side here. She's a FIFA streamer, content creator, and she's here with FIFA creating some behind-the-scenes stuff. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
In our private booth, we're like, very privileged to get a seat up here, Case.
I know, I'm so lucky.
How's it been? You've been getting a great insight into all the players, doing some behind-the-scenes stuff. I mean, you know, who have you been surprised with so far, and who's really standing out for you?
So from this specific group, I've been keeping my eye on Matias Bonono. He has been absolutely amazing. So I had a feeling he was playing Danny Pitbull earlier, and it was the end. Obviously, he had the 90th minute winner. And I just had a feeling. It was a 0-0. Obviously, there were no goals. And so I had my camera on him for the last 10 minutes of the match because I just had that feeling. And, of course, he scored in the 90th minute. Greatest reaction. They all said, "Vamos!" So much fun. Obviously, posted it to social. But that's been really, really fun. And then earlier, I know Levy is in 2nd, but he really surprised me in the earlier group as well.
And I guess who's been the biggest shock in terms of personality? Because you obviously speak to all these guys all the time online, and it's a different vibe meeting them in real life. Who's kind of surprised you and has been really approachable and wanting to talk?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of these people I haven't actually met. So it's my first time meeting a lot of these guys. I know the North American people. I know Chris, Paulo Neto, Lamps, and so those guys are great. Love to joke around. But I mentioned Levy earlier, but I was in one of his video interviews, and he's hilarious. Absolutely. So much fun to be around. So he has a really, really fun personality.
And look, I'll be honest, you might have to leave because you talked about Matías Bonanno, who's just conceded. Only I'm allowed to talk about Matías Bonanno on this couch.
Don't say she's a bad vibe. She's just coming
He just
through.
manifested potentially the greatest FIFA player of all time for Matías. And he was going to wager something on it, and you cut him off. We didn't know what he was.
You'll never find out. You'll never find out.
Casey, he took about 5 minutes to get to one answer, and in that time...
He built the whole thing up, and then Rachel threw it.
Don't blame me. Blame producer Gary in my ear. Gary, we're talking about you now. Anyway, Matías has been such a revelation this season, hasn't he?
He really has, and I believe it's his second year, and so he is still fairly new to the scene. So to see him succeeding and playing this well today, because it's intimidating. This stage is crazy. I would be so nervous to play on these absolutely amazing setups that they have. But yeah, he's killing it out there.
You know, some people doubted Matías, but I know one guy that never doubted him. From the online, Richard has been the biggest Matías Bonanno supporter you could imagine, and I just would love to know what he was going to put on the line, but we'll never know. But Casey, I do have a question for you. You've obviously talked to all the players, but you're also looking for social content. We talk about a lot of the pop-offs and these little pods or club rooms or whatever you want to classify them as.
Business class flights.
Business class flights is where we've met in the middle.
Improvement. That was so harsh from Cal.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom.
Who's got the best posse? Who's got the best group? Where are you getting the best reactions? You've been here from the early games. You've been here for the later games now. Because we've had this debate because we can hear what's happening.
Yeah, honestly, I don't want to group them all together, but the South American guys, they're a squad. Like, they all support each other. I mean, they're the loudest guys out there celebrating each other.
I'm not sure they're coaches. That's what I was saying. I think they just brought yellers.
Absolutely. No, they're very, very fun to watch. And even a lot of them are competing against each other, but at the end of the day, even if, you know, they competed in the earlier day, they're here supporting the rest of their South American players.
They have
so
synchronized pop-offs. Have you seen it? It's like a wave. All of them go up.
Well, they're in sync, aren't they? That's for sure.
Vamos, vamos, vamos.
Okay, so obviously you've been putting things out on polls on social media. You've been across everything in terms of socials as well. Firstly, this morning we said which group was the most difficult to get out of. What would be your response to that?
So I believe the group of death is what they're calling it. I was talking to Alalita earlier. He self-proclaimed it as the group of death. That's a difficult one. And so the fact that he's able to be at the top of that group is very, very impressive. We have a whole other day of competition, so anything can happen, but that is the hardest one in my opinion.
And then our second poll running today was which nation do you think is going to take the title? South America, North America, Europe, or Asia, and just Web Nazari?
Wait, question.
So he was at the nation on his shoulders.
Are Nicholas and Matías considered European because they live in Europe now, or they're
South
considered
America.
South? I just want that clarification for her. Okay.
Okay, so realistically, I think it's South America, but I feel like I'd be a fraud if I didn't say North America because I am rooting for Diddy Crislito. So.
Well, North Americans then sitting there. Are you agreeing with Case?
I would love to see Diddy make the big run. I'm all with that.
What's the
If
score
Diddy
on
can
Diddy?
hear us, let's make that happen.
Last I saw, he was in third place.
It's 0-0 at the moment, almost the 90th minute.
Well, I don't think that's
perfect. On cue.
But, I can tell you some of the Europeans who are doing very well at the moment, and Danny Pitbull.
Space to work with.
Diddy Crislito.
Here we go. On cue.
Oh, what a save! Corner though.
We thought we were going to see some magic there as we got into this game. Not to be. It's going to be shared, I think, at the moment, isn't it? Point East.
Not yet.
Oh,
not yet.
That's it. No. How?
Still. What a save!
What is happening? Can we keep that on a rerun?
Look at Chris. Look at Chris.
Oh my goodness.
Danny Pitbull celebrate like he's won.
He'll go and give you a hug, Case, apparently. If you want to go and get a hug if you're feeling low, Mike said, Danny Pitbull is your boy.
Oh, my
Mike.
gosh.
Oh, he'll run you down right now for a group hug. I can't believe what I just witnessed. From missed opportunity to great save, to post being hit, to secondary save, all in the course of a minute and a half.
He has to
They say the curse of the contest. I feel like that was a blessing from Casey getting all this action, and then it came back to bite him.
He's got to score the header.
I don't think it's his fault. What do you want to do? Uh-oh.
Is that Vamos?
I mean,
that is a
gotta
Vamos.
be a JRA.
That's a JRA. Should we see what happened in that match?
I see a big smile. Put it on. I want the replay.
JRA there, smiling. It means business.
Oh, where's the goalkeeper movement?
It's gone wrong.
Currently, I think that's a 2-1 lead for JRA. I love that tifo, by the way. All the previous winners, Mo Alba, Mr. Dunn, Dasari.
You remember the gorilla point? That's when he pointed
to Hullet.
He scored with Ruud Hullet and then pointed at Ruud Hullet in the crowd.
So 1-1 there, getting that equalising goal, JRA. Gilles leading 2-1 against Klenke.
Wait, what club's he from?
Genk. And Benny CR7 winning 2-0 against Pina from Genk as well. Emre Yilmaz struggling here against Tex.
Well, Tex, great to see him get 2 goals now. Really great.
It's been hit and miss as Tex.
I have a fun story about Tex.
Go, love fun
So
stories.
we did a water bottle football challenge where you set the water bottle up, you have to kick it at the water bottle. Well, most of them were, they hit the ball, you know, lightly because I'm standing right behind it with the camera. Tex decided to go full out footballer and just hit the ball as much as possible. It went flying, almost hit me in the face. He just looks...
You asked him to kick it.
I hope you told him off as well and said, don't be so aggressive. We are friends here. We're all friends.
I mean, I laughed.
His
It was
mom's
funny.
at the event if necessary.
No.
Throwing that out there. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
I was a good sport, but it was very, very funny.
Oh, there we go. Well, he has 3 points, does Tex. That was a bit crucial. Diogo there having a look at that coaching control. He needed that, didn't he, Rich?
Massive result in this group where a lot of people perceive Group C as the group of death. I think for us, at the moment, this is the group that is throwing up the most curveballs. It'll put him on to 9 points. Depending on other results, he'll be in the top 3, maybe even top 4, as it currently stands. Will Tex in Group B.
I think we need this JRA overrun, by the way. It's like 75th minute, 15 left. It's been good. I wouldn't mind another Vamos. I'm just going to throw that out.
You ask and you get, Mike.
I'm just trying my best here.
So kind of 13 or so minutes left in this one.
I just think there's something here. There's a winner in this.
Well, give us a bit of commentary then. Come on, we're sticking with it. Mike's now going to commentate. Mike LaBelle style. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to sit back.
We have JRA in the white kits and Oberon in the darker kits. You just need to know that off the rip. You see the confidence here from JRA. Moving the ball quickly, looking for the 1-2s, overlapping run. Pele, what do you have for us? Green time finish. Goalkeeper does not move. It's a brilliant save. You didn't know I had this in my system. Welcome.
Are we going to see here a salmon jumping maybe?
I mean, there's something jumping.
It's still on.
I know other fish. I can talk about. Oh, come on! I said a goal was coming, and the goal has arrived.
Right, the commentary's out the window.
There we go. I think
energy to close the day.
I think Mike lost his mic there in his celebrations. I think he's saddened it now. So sorry. Apologies for any of the sounds that came from that.
The big thing was the set piece again. You mentioned set pieces earlier. Drilled it to the edge of the box. He got the first contact, headed it down, and then a finish into the back of the net.
It wasn't the prettiest of goals, but it got done. I don't know if you can hear me, but it's here. It's here.
It doesn't matter how it went in. All that matters is that JRA scored and leading 2-1. And again, a player from outside that top 4 currently beating somebody in there. So it's crazy.
Drama all over the place right now. We can just wrap up Klenke and Gilles. Gilles took that one 2-1 and Spencer's with the man from Genk right now.
Yes, I am. First time speaking to him today. Gilles, you just got a big win against Klenke, who hadn't actually lost today. The first person to beat him. How you feeling?
Yeah, I don't know, because I had a really difficult start with 0 points on 9. Then I won against Tex, lost against Emre, and now I win against Klenke. So I'm winning against the big players and I'm losing against the older guys, but yeah, it's so difficult, and I'm happy to have 6 points because it's my first World Cup, and we'll see the next game and tomorrow.
It tells you, you're good enough to beat anyone. You're getting results against guys that no one else had beaten, and it was certainly Klenke. And obviously you've got tomorrow a chance to get revenge on the people that did beat you. Will you take a different approach in those games?
Yeah, we're going to look at it with the coaches, and yeah, I know most of the players because Emre I played in London, Bene too, so we know each other very well. So I think most games are 50-50, but it's just so important to have the first goal in the game, and then you can just stay back and counter.
Definitely. Another game you're playing tomorrow is your rematch against your teammate, Pina. He managed to get the win 1-0 in that one. What are you going to change?
I don't know. He scored a finesse goal, and that was, I think, the only chance in the game. So hopefully he can score the first goal, and then, yeah, so just like I said, counter, and he should come attack, and hopefully I can win the game then.
Okay. Best of luck tomorrow. That is Gilles, who just got a big win against Klenke. If you come with me, though, I want to move over here. Oh, no, his game's still going on. Let's just watch the end of it, then. So this is great. So we've got JRA here from Spain, who, again, just like Gilles, started with 3 losses back-to-back, but he's picked up some big wins. He's beaten Tex, of course. He's actually won 2 in a row, and he's about to make it 3 in a row. So he's going to basically do an Istanbul, 3 losses to 3 wins. And if the cameraman turns round, you will see his family getting very animated. It's great. He's got maybe the most support of anyone here, JRA. His real name is Javier. And you can see, I think it's his brother in the crowd here. It's offside, though, and the disappointment is palpable in the crowd here. But, yeah, great support. We'll call them the JRA army over here. They're loving life. 20 seconds left. And if JRA gets this win against Oberon, by the way, another player who's been really good. There it is. There's the win. We'll see if we can grab a very happy JRA for a very quick interview. Javier, we have a quick interview straight in. Straight in for a chat. Big win. 3 wins in a row after 3 losses. You must feel great.
Yeah, so great. But I had, I don't know how to say in English, a tirón in my abdominal.
Butterflies, yeah.
Butterflies. Yes, I started so bad, but then we changed formation tactics and we are playing so good now, so let's go for the comeback a fuego.
It's a great comeback. You know, I actually tipped you to get out of the group, so you're doing me proud. Talk to me about your family and friends here supporting you. Is that your brother in there? He looks just like you. Great support.
Yes, he's the same as me, and my mother, they came from Murcia and Madrid, and I'm so happy for them.
Look at the smile on his face right now. That is the smile of a man who's gone from 3 losses to 3 Ws. Can you finish today with 1 more win?
Yes, for sure. Let's try. And so, opponent right now it's Gilles, but let's play as these games and for the win.
Fantastic work. Vamos, that is the most informed player in the room right now there, JRA. 3 wins in a row. Big wins as well. The likes of Tex, the likes of Oberon. He's taking big scalps, and I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it 4 wins in a row in the next one. Back to you guys.
Oh, I love that smile on his face. And we were just talking about his brother as well. I kept seeing him in the hotel. I was like, is that JRA? No, I don't think he looks exactly the same. But the likeness is uncanny there. And JRA, 3 wins and a bounce. He now goes up against Gilles, who is sitting at the bottom of that table. So both players really want a win there. Let's have a look at the standings and see exactly what that means for that group after 6 rounds. So Gilles, actually, I'm not sure if that's been updated. 6 points, has it? Rich, come on, Mr. Mathematician, Statman.
It has been updated, Jess Johnson.
It has, so look how close they are. 6 points each.
JRA is going to be at 9.
So 6 and 9, sorry there. So he's going to jump up. Tex will still say at 9? Everyone updated?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
5 players on 9.
That's kind of how it looks. So JRA is going to go to 9. 5 players on 9, like Mike said. Let's look at that winning goal, which caused the Vamoses.
I mean, I got out of my seat. I hit a Vamos as well.
We know, it was next to you. It went through my ear.
Very scrappy.
Yeah, it's not the best build-up, but the finish is there. Back of the net, they all count the same. And you can just feel his momentum. And doesn't it make you smile when you hear that interview? You can just tell how passionate he is about competing and the fact that he's got himself into his first FIFAe World Cup and kind of what it means to him. I mean, he had his ab notifying that he needed to make tactical changes.
Butterfly, we found out. They just couldn't get the word for it.
I think it was abs. Okay. Pretty sure it was abs.
So we know JRA is turning it around. I'll divert us back on course, don't worry.
Thanks, Rich.
Benny CR7 needs a result. He's struggling at the moment, bottom of the table, 5 points in a really competitive division. Over in Group D, Dami needs a result. He needs to get some points on the board to end day 1 with a smile on his face. Who is Dami playing? I hear you ask at home. Matthias Bernardo in his final game of the day. Edson as well needs to get some points on the board, and he's playing Webb Nasri, so that is a massive game at the bottom of Group D.
I guess Case and Mike, can you give an insight into what you think JRA possibly changed? And that you said change some tactics, change some formations. We're not sure exactly what he did. What do you think he may have done there?
Yeah, so I think in general today, he had a slow start. You know, he had a couple losses in the beginning, but he was able to keep his head cool, calm, composed, and obviously he's on a roll now. He's been doing a lot better after, I think it was about the 3rd game, and so whatever he was doing, starting off that 3rd game, he's just been consistent and keeping the same tactics, and honestly, keep doing that, JRA, because it is working for you. Keep that into tomorrow, and I wish him the best of luck.
Got a little question from the Twitch chat.
For me or for you? Or for
both of you?
I don't know.
Both of you. Adam on the stream has asked, shout out Adam, how much I'll adjust the question a little bit, Adam, to make it more acceptable. How much does an average competitor have to play in order to train, Mike LaBelle, to compete at the FIFAe World Cup? And then, Case, I'm going to ask you, in terms of a content creator, how many hours are you putting in per day? Mike, first, competitor.
I would say if you're looking to be a pro player, and it shifts a little bit depending on the time period of the year and how well you're adapting to patches, you've got to play at least 5 times, I would say, out of the week, 5 out of 7 days. But when the game first comes out and you're trying to grind through, you get the rewards, of course, of that initiating or that initial grind every day. And you might be putting in 4 to 5 hours a day just because you're looking for any competitive advantage that can give you maybe an early qualification, can build your team quicker, and so forth and so on. And there's also, like, practice isn't created equally. Myself playing against a pro is much more valuable than me playing against the weekend league or playing against random online opponents. So it depends at what quality of practice am I getting. That's why I think Team Hullet's had so much success, is because they're only playing against the best of the best, and they're doing a lot on a LAN setting or in a LAN setting, which allows them to prep for these events.
I love how he points at me. You know, just the weekend league, the casual.
You took that how you took that. I didn't say anything. I didn't direct anything. That's how you felt here.
Can I say a word here, Case, before? She's just gone full-time, so congratulations to Case there.
Thank
Obviously, you used to be working at Chicago Fire as well and the content creator for them. Now you've gone full-time, so massive moves for you.
Yes, huge moves, terrifying moves, but very, very exciting. I love FIFA. I love content creation. And to answer your question, playing the game is one thing, and actual gameplay and being on the menus is another thing. I'm probably in the game 5 days a week for at least 5 hours.
You got a new genre. You got like the FIFA dancer. Like I've seen the TikToks. Yeah, there's FIFA and dancing.
I don't dance on stream. Everyone watching this broadcast, I do not dance on stream. I play FIFA.
We're in the club. You're showing the dance moves now.
On TikTok, maybe a little bit, but I'm a FIFA streamer, not a dancing streamer. But yes, I put a lot of hours into the game. Nowhere at the level as these guys, but I do love it. So.
All right, Richard sings when he plays. He's a FIFA singer.
Yeah.
Or maybe a chant. A chant maybe more appropriate.
Karaoke.
Okay, now we've gone completely off tack, guys, but that's what happens on this show when you ask the three of us to invite Case on. This is what happens. Well, at the moment, you can probably sense there's a pause in action behind us. Just a lot of players just sitting, getting ready for their final round of fixtures this evening, because, reminder, we're obviously playing 7. Everyone's playing each other once in this round of group stages. Rich, I asked you a little bit earlier, who was right at the bottom of these two groups, B and D, and really needs a result in this final game?
Benny CR7 in Group B has to pick up points. He's going to be taking on Tex. No easy feat, but even a draw in that game will put him on to 6 points. It seems like everyone's got 6 points in Group B, so to get with the rest of the pack and close the distance between top and bottom is very important. Over into Group D, you're looking, I mentioned it earlier, Dami, Edson, Webb, Nasri. Dami's going to be taking on Matias Bonanno. No easy game. But then on the flip side, Edson against Webb, Nasri. Someone is going to be creating a bit of distance between himself and his sort of rivals around him in the bottom half of the tables. And we could start to see these groups in this final game finally start to take shape.
Yeah, I mean, there's some great fixtures happening then. They've already started. Now, Case, obviously, we've been speaking about how you've just met some of these people for the first time. So far, what has been a take-home? What have you learned from kind of being around this community even more so?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been around the North American FIFA community a lot, and I just think that it's the same all over the world. All these guys are so passionate about the game. Obviously, they speak different languages, and I may not be able to speak the same language as them, but you could see the passion, you can see the love for the game. And, I mean, even just at the hotel, they're always talking about it. FIFA's always on the brain, and it's awesome to see.
It's special, isn't it, to be part of this community?
It really is.
Yeah, totally. Well, this is the last round of fixtures. Mike, I'm going to ask you to go, where do you want to go? Because we can go pretty much anywhere.
I'm still playing off this JRA energy, so I'll take the JRA Gills matchup. I know it's 0-0, it's 10 minutes in, but they both need this result, and for different reasons. You got one that's really informed. Gills kind of had hot and cold moments today, but because that group is so close, one result shifts everything.
Yeah, and JRA, of course, he's looking for that 4th consecutive victory. Went three defeated, and now he's on a roll.
Yeah, and it's hard to sort of create a streak like that as well. And I think it is important to get momentum going, especially when the games are so quick after each other as well. There's no real time to take a break. So, look, if he's had 2 minutes, gone, I need to change my tactics, I need to change something, and he's had a positive reaction from it, maybe we could start to see the JRA train really picking up steam.
Yeah.
You see that counter press, almost a big mistake as well. And Jill likes to go forward pretty quickly, a little bit different than a lot of the competitors. If there's a gap, he's going to push forward as fast as possible. And we talked about JRA earlier, but you're going to see a lot more of that build up until he gets into the final third. But he's been doing the most with his opportunities, and sometimes you need those little moments of some good fortune. We saw the bounce back and a shot blocked, recovered across the body. It allowed him to push forward and to get that winner.
Yeah, I mean, I guess actually, Case, you can jump in on what we've been speaking about quite a lot this weekend in terms of just one leg of FIFA. That's something that you play like week in or day in, day out. So you'd probably be better versed than some of these guys. Maybe you could give them a run for their money?
Absolutely not.
Don't dumb yourself down.
Absolutely not. But no, I think that the one leg, it is a little bit different. They're used to playing 2 games in a row, and obviously it's separated by an entire day. So you really have to adapt quickly because it's over just like that. But they do have back-to-back games, and that's really difficult and tiring as well. And so shout out to them for even being able to be consistent throughout the entirety of this day.
And I believe the biggest functionality difference there is not just a singular game, but it's not aggregate based, which is something that we've always seen pretty much in competitive FIFA, is not only was it 2 legs, but how they add up. And it allows you to play out very differently, and then you know that extra time or penalty kicks could be on the horizon.
Yeah, well, we won't get to penalty kicks or extra time until Saturday or Sunday when we approach the knockouts, because at the moment, remember, it's 3 for a win, 2 points for a draw, and 0 if you get a loss. Well, this one is a bit of a stalemate at the moment, so we'll jump somewhere else to bring you up to speed on everything else which is going on in this final round of fixtures for day 1.
Can I make a request?
Can we go? Request?
Can we go to Webb Nasri against Edson?
Can we go to Webb Nasri against Edson? I think we can. We're going to go into that one right now. Again, Webb Nasri got a result against Didi Chris, and he got a draw, didn't he, against Manu Bashir as well.
7th versus 6th in the table. 1-1 already. 2 early goals from these two. They're going to be fighting it out, and when you look at the table, Edson on 4 points, Webb Nasri on 5 points. It's essential that you pick up 3 here for one of these two to try and break into that top 4.
Yeah, and totally, Casey was saying that Webb Nasri is the only player from Asia. I mean, what a moment for this player.
I mean, he has a lot of pressure to represent all of a continent, but very, very exciting for him.
Oh, why doesn't he make the extra pass? 2-on-1, a little dip and dabble, and you'd be good to go in that situation. And that's something that we've also noticed because everything means more. I feel like there's starting to be more mistakes. People aren't as clinical, and I think tomorrow is even going to include more of those mistakes, as you know you could be going home via a poor result.
If that game is on Weekend League and he gets that chance, it's a guaranteed goal. He's not missing that, but in this situation, in this scenario, in this venue, given the stakes as well, mistakes do creep in. We've seen the best players make mistakes.
Yeah, the best players even make mistakes because this is the biggest FIFA stage on the planet, so you know, they have to kind of clutch up, as Richard Buckley would say here, if they want to get a result. And sometimes they find it a little tricky because the eyes of the world are on them. Right, so Edson and Webb Nasri, we're still sticking on this one at the moment to see if we can get a breakaway goal and an extra 3 points here. We're obviously sticking again with Edson in shot now, who's taking on this player representing his continent, like Casey said there, in Asia and South America as well. They've been so dominant again in this championship so far. Well, what else is happening then? Scores on the doors. We've got quite a lot of draws, actually. So Didi Chris has got a draw at the moment with Manu Bashir, which is great to see for Didi, especially needing a couple more points to his name.
And he was down 1-0 in that game. So anytime you're starting to kind of forge that comeback, you're building in confidence. We also have a 0-0 with Dami and Matthias. If Dami's able to get something here, that would be huge for Dami, just to give him some sort of momentum going into day number 2. Danny Pitbull and Dolan Mike, 1-1. Both of them could use that game or really allow them to solidify their position. Obviously, we saw the Webb and Edson result, or where they're at currently. And then on screen now we have Tex up 1-0 versus a struggling Benny CR7.
Yeah, jumping into Group B as well, where this game is taking place. Emre Yilmaz winning 2-1 against Klenke. Pina beating Oberon. So again, just results all over the place.
That'll be a big flip-flop. If Pina were to win this, he's got to be, worst case, tied for first.
He will go to 12 points. Yeah, Tex would go to 12 points. Emre Yilmaz would go to
12
11. JRA, if he was to win, would go to 12 as well. So you'd have 3 on 12, 1 on 11.
All right, Mr. Joker over here, mathematician Joker. What hat are you playing on there?
Well, he set that one up well.
He did. He set you up for a fail there, Mike Fabel was. Half-time pretty much around the studio at the moment, and this is just a chance in one leg of FIFA for them to reset, but quickly if they need to. So Tex, like I just mentioned, is looking pretty good at the moment. Only that 1-goal lead against Benny CR7. He's made a late run, a bit like JRA has. Shouts and screams behind me. Rich Buckley, where is that coming from?
I think it's coming from the far right-hand corner, which is Edson's booth. I think Edson has just scored to put him 2-1 up against Webb Nasri. Having a look over my left-hand shoulder, the booth on the far right-hand corner, right next to the DJ's booth, and Edson 2-1 up.
Yeah, Matias Banana then, 0-0, like you said, Mike, against Dami. That's a bit of a surprising result.
That's how FIFA is, though, but I will say this about Matias in particular. He had a lot of low-scoring games today where he was able to get the result late. Maybe it was great, but either way, it kind of fit into his game plan. There's a lot of similarities between Matias and Nicholas as well, where they play a lot of grindy games, not always high-scoring, but they will win a lot of those matchups where it seems as if nothing's really happening.
Rich, it wasn't Edson, it was Webb Nasri case that got that winning goal there to go hit, put him in the driving seat going into half-time. Surprised at that?
A little bit. I mean, Webb Nasri has had a little bit of a struggle today. I've been actually sitting over there the majority of the time. I've been watching Matias Bonono and him, and I would like to see him come out with a couple more wins here today and tomorrow, because, like I said, it hasn't been the easiest route for him, so...
Bit of a shock result also starting to take shape as well. Didi Crislito winning 2-1 against Manu Bashor.
I don't think it's a shock. Didi's been good today. I mean, the only result that maybe is out of characteristic is maybe that loss against Webb Nasri.
Bashor's top.
These two here being defensive of the North American.
Don't send that negative North American energy on this side of the couch. We got a double-seater.
Hang on then, you two commentate on the little North American here. Didi Chris against Bashor.
Almost a long-distance effort. I was ready to go. I was going to get out of my seat. Don't ask me to commentate and then get unhappy when I develop this greatness right here. I take you up, I take you down. Either way, we're heading into halftime. Didi is looking active. Look at that cross. That's gorgeous. The goalkeeper wasn't going to save that. That's just a warning sign for Bashor as we go into this halftime.
I think I'll pause.
You got to talk to the coach with the tool deck.
I think I might pause on the commentary just there. Did he getting active?
Talking to what coach?
Let's have a little look. Oh, we didn't get to hang on that for that long to see in terms of possession, etc. But the halftime result in that is Didi 2 and Bashor 1, which is a great start to that matchup for Didi, the North American. These two loving it as well, the North American being represented here. We're going to throw down to Spence now because he's got something for us.
Hello. We're here with Dylan Mike. It's half-time. He's 3-2 up against Danny Pitbull. Talk to us about how your day's gone so far.
I think my day, I'm pretty confident with how I'm playing, but the results haven't been what I expected. So far I'm on 8 points, hoping obviously to make it 11 after this game. And yeah, it's just a bit of unluckiness in the games.
Always nice to round things off with a win. I've been watching a lot of your games, and it seems like the goalkeepers are just playing unbelievable against you. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's just not my day, I think, in terms of goalkeepers from the opponents. But hopefully tomorrow is going to be my day, and I'm going to edge out those results that I missed today.
Well, if you finish with a win here, you'll still be looking pretty good. That's 3-2 between Dylan Mike and Danny Pitbull. Best of luck in the second half. Back to you guys.
That is unheard of to get an interview during half-time there.
Only Spencer could do something like that.
In such a crucial game between Dylan and Mike. Mike, what he was saying, though, is he said he feels like he's just been a little bit unlucky. In case you can chime in on that as well, you know how these games go in weekend league and whenever you're playing. Sometimes the luck just doesn't go your way, does it?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it has to do with momentum. Sometimes it goes your way, and other times it is just not, and it's very, very frustrating. I can't imagine how frustrating it is for these guys here, because well, it's frustrating for me as a weekend league player, which doesn't mean anything, but obviously this is everything for them, so I can't imagine.
Are you a rage quitter?
I'm a rager. No,
rager.
no.
Yeah, we stay in those games. We're just unhappy about the results.
Are you a rage quitter?
No, I'm raging while in the match.
Okay, both the same then, he, the North American.
I'm a rage gamer.
Okay, Dylan Mike, though, with what he said there, luck hasn't really been on his side. 8 points, looking to make it 11 if he gets this win. Would that sit him quite comfortably in the rankings going into tomorrow?
Generally speaking, if you're double digits going into tomorrow, I think you've put yourself in a position to succeed. Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Put him on the spot.
He go to 11. Obviously, Danny Pitbull's right there next to him. One's on 9, one's on 8 currently. I think a draw is probably a fair result, given their placements in the table currently. 3-2, by the way, at half-time is a cracking game of FIFA. As we jump on board here with Edson and Webb Nasri. Edson reclaiming the lead. You said Webb Nasri went 2-1 up. Edson's fired back with 2 goals in the second half. 23 minutes left to play in this game.
Yeah, it's been quite the turnaround in this matchup, hasn't it, Mike?
It's not what I expected. We haven't seen too many games that also have this much battle back. We've seen players score 3-4 goals on one side, maybe even a real dominant match where they keep their opponent to a clean sheet. But we haven't seen that many 3-alls or 3-2s, or potentially this could even turn into maybe a 4-2 or something along those lines, where you're having a little more of an offensive explosion.
Let's just stick with this and see if Webb Nasri can make a late comeback and reclaim that lead that he had only a few moments ago. Well, we're going to just see them in picture there, and it's always great to see their reactions. But yeah, Edson's leading that one 3-2 at the moment.
We should probably let Casey, choose the game.
Case?
Where are you going to go?
Gee, I mean, we could watch Diddy Chris Lido.
Oh, I think that's what we should watch too.
Oh, there we go. Let's go with the North Americans. I mean, not biased at all, are they, over here?
It's all right, because Manu Bashor's...
Oh, come on!
2-2 the scoreline. Manu Bashor sticking in past Diddy, Chris, Lito, top of the pail. Manu Bashor, no reaction, by the way, from Bashor or Lev Vinken behind him. I think it's not job done yet. They'll want to go on and take all 3 points.
Well, I think it's more so like it's very much not about today. It's about 4 collective days here, isn't it? You can do a great job on day 1 and you can still kind of not come back tomorrow and really perform very well.
If he won, though, he'd go to 17 points.
And we said 20 would be enough, Case. Would you agree with that? 20 is pretty much safe to go through.
Yeah, I feel pretty safe if you were at 20 for sure.
So he's right on the cusp.
One more win tomorrow then.
It'd be the most point total of anybody.
Question.
Over day 1 as well.
What do you think is the least amount of points that will get you that 4th place finish where you're going to move on?
13, 14, maybe.
Final answer, pick one so we can put you on the record. Because before we know this, it's going to say 15 or 11.
I'll go 13.
13, okay.
I'm just going to bring up speed on the JRA Gilles scoreline at full time. 0-0 there. Both share those points and get a point each, which is probably not what they were after, especially how JRA was on such a great run.
Yeah, that'll put JRA to 10 points. The end of play
recovery
today.
for the day.
Yeah, fantastic. After being 0-3 to take 10 points out of that, 10 your next 12. Very impressive. Jill, not a great day at the office. 7 points out of 21 available. So that's a third of the points that he has taken from his matchups. Chance for Diddy Chris. Great save from the keeper.
But in that group in particular, 7 points still puts you into the equation or the sequence.
There or thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, we're talking about the JRA, 10 points at the moment. It's going to Tex.
Ooh, Benny
And Benny, they're sharing as well at the moment. Only 1 point each for these guys. Couple more minutes left in this match to see if someone can take all those 3 points and end out the day on a high.
Kimpembe just giving the ball away. That brand new shapeshifter Kimpembe that's been recently added into the accounts. Last attack will force will Benny CR7.
Yeah, well, we'll end this game then with Spencer out on the floor. He can just round up the latter stages of this game for us. Spencer, are you down there?
I am up here with, or in between Tex and Benny CR7 as we enter injury time here. They're literally right between me. They're right next to each other, the 2 players. And we have about 30 seconds left. It's looking like this is probably going to be a point shared by the 2 guys here, unless Benny can do something here. He crosses one in. Hail Mary attempt. Surely that's it, ref. There it is. 1 point each for the 2 players. I'm going to jump straight in and try and get some initial reaction. Let's go to Tex first here. Tex, I know you just finished, mate. 1 word to describe that game?
Annoying. That's the word I'll go for. I'll say a few more as well because I want to. But yeah, I was 2-1 up. We got a lucky goal to make it 2-2. I've been playing well today, I can't lie. It's just a few little things. It's best of one format. I hate it. You know me, I'm good in best of twos. I kick on in the second leg. But unfortunately, there's no second leg.
Well, that was something I wanted to ask you about. You know, you're happy with the way you played, it sounds like, today. You've racked up a few wins there just to finish the day as well. But the guys earlier were saying they wondered how you get on in this format because, yeah, you like to figure your opponent out in that first leg and then finish it in the second. But you've had to adapt for this format, haven't you?
My best year, FIFA 19. Every time I'm 2-0 down and I bring it back second leg. But obviously, in this, I hate being in the lead and I hate going 1-0 down in the best of one. So it just doesn't suit me at all. But if I manage to get through groups, it's knockouts, best of two, and that's why I perform better. So just want to get into knockouts now.
And how are you feeling about your chances of getting out of the group?
Good. I think it's really tight. Like before this game, everyone was like 8-9 points. If I play like I did today, I'll get through tomorrow. It's just a 80th minute equaliser, an 84th minute equaliser. I just need to sort a few things out, and then I should get through. And then hopefully we kick on in knockouts. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay, we'll see what happens to your text tomorrow. I'm going to cross over to Benny, CR7, if I can. We haven't spoke to you yet, Benny. How's your day gone?
Not very well. I conceded 3 times in the last 3 minutes. So, yeah, I hate constant pressure. I knew it would be a thing because it's best of one, you know. So every game you have to, keep your lead and keep calm. But yeah, now I think I'm last in the group at the moment. But it's all very tight and very close. So yeah, hopefully we change it tomorrow.
Well, this is the tightest group of all the groups. We said this before. The guys were saying that, you know, almost anyone could go through. And I think you've definitely got to look at the league table and see that. A big day tomorrow, you could not just go through, but finish quite high in the group.
Yeah, exactly. But I need to win my games. So hopefully this changes tomorrow. And I hope I can keep my leads tomorrow better.
We've had a draw there against an informed Tex, so that's a positive. And then come back tomorrow, see what you can do. That's Benny, CR7, Tex as well. I can't wait to see what happens in all the groups, but this group particularly is going to be very interesting. I think it's going to go down to the final game. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Some very honest answers there between the two players as well. Benny CR7 at the bottom of the group said he just needs to start winning some. He conceded 3 right at the last minute there. And then Tex, on the contrary, said he thinks he's been playing well, frustrated there, but he just doesn't like one leg of FIFA, which we've been discussing already, Mike.
Well, especially for him in particular, because he's such a second leg player, that's an advantage for him. And of course, you're going to dislike anything where you feel like you're at a disadvantage. That's naturally how it's going to work from a competitive standpoint. But I'd probably agree with that. Tex did a lot right today. Maybe missed some moments, had a couple mistakes out of the back that were unusual. You said not very Tex-like. But if those weren't there, we'd probably be talking about him getting a couple more wins.
Yeah, I mean, Case, it was interesting what he said there as well. He was already looking to the fact that he would make it through to knockouts. He's like, you know, get to knockouts and it's 2 legs again, and that's where I'll come into my own.
Yeah, I feel like Tex is the type of player that unless he's winning, he's not going to be happy with his performance. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, he needs those 3 points every single match that he's in. And so even if it is one leg, he has to do it. But he's the type of player that sees himself in that next stage, which is good.
Totally. That's basically what he was saying, wasn't it, Rich?
You mentioned he's talking about knockouts already. He needs to be careful because with this group, we'll see the final sort of standings very shortly indeed, but it is so tight in this group. You have an hour, 1 hour of bad FIFA, 3 games, you lose 3, you are right out of the running.
Well, we can update you on all those final standings then after 7 rounds of FIFA for Group B and D. Rich will fill in the gaps for us. But, yeah, Bashir and Emre Yilmaz, 2 Team Hullet players, pretty much having a good day at the office.
Yeah, just looking at Group B very quickly. Emre Yilmaz, 11 points. Tex on 10. JRA on 10. Oberon and Pina ended a draw, so that will put Oberon onto 10 points as well. Klenke is on 9. Pina will be on 10. So Pina will go into 4th. So we're going to have 11, 10, 10, 10, 9, 9, 7, 6. Which is unbelievable. Looking at Group D very quickly as well. Everything updated other than Manu Bashir's result. That ended as a draw in the end. So he'll put him to 15 points. Matias Bonanno second. Didi Chris Lito goes to 10 points. Danny Pitbull will go to 9 points. Dullen Mike on winning, actually, so he goes to 11. He'll go into the top 4, Dullen Mike.
I don't know about all your addition skills, but I like it.
Dullen Mike goes into top 4.
If you've got your head around that, we'll see you tomorrow. Otherwise, Richard will go and start calculating again. Guys, quick wrap on today. Case, take home for you?
I mean, I'm so impressed. All these players, their composure is amazing to see. At this stage, they're the best in the world, and I'm just lucky to be sitting here and capturing these moments because it's just so much fun. So it's awesome.
Most impressive player heading into day 2?
Team Holet runs supreme. We've seen Levy, we've seen Olito. I'm putting him into the same category. He's got some sort of slash in there. And then you just saw the rankings here with Bashor and also Yilmaz.
Yeah, totally. Who's had the rockiest start in terms of your opinion?
Dami, by far. He came in as arguably one of the favourites for the tournament. He's picked up 5 points out of 21. Disappointing for his performance, and he's got to pick it up tomorrow if he wants to get into that top 4.
Yeah, well, controllers are now down on day 1 of the FIWC. iPad is down. Mike Casey can go down as well. Thank you so much for joining us here as we rounded out day 1. Thanks again, Rich and Mike and Spen, wherever he is on the floor, and to all the players who competed here on day 1 of the FIWC. Don't worry, guys, we get to do it all again tomorrow. We have the group stages coming back here tomorrow. We'll start with Group A and C and then B and D as usual. They get to play 7 more rounds of fixtures. They basically play the away leg now, the home leg, whichever way you look at it. They get to play each other once more time. 1 leg of FIFA tomorrow for a place in those knockouts on Saturday. It's really going to start heating up tomorrow here in Copenhagen. We've loved it, guys. We hope you have as well. Come back and join us the same time. It's 10:50 Central European time. So wherever you are in the world, make sure you set your clocks for Central European time, 10:50, and we'll see you tomorrow. We'll leave you, though, with a nice wrap here from day 1 in Copenhagen of the FIWC 2022. Good night, guys.